Good evening. Good evening, fellow citizens and neighbors. If we can please bring it down. Thank you. My name is Mark DeSalvo, and I serve as the elected town moderator. Welcome to the annual town meeting of the town of North Andover. Aren't you kind? Our town, first established in 1646, I call to order the 2026 session of town meeting. One predicate item, I invite you to please turn off or silence all of your devices. The first one that we hear will identify, and you're going to be responsible for buying all of us drinks at the end of the meeting. Massachusetts town meetings were a foundational influence on the Declaration of Independence, serving in effect as a primary school on liberty and the practical mechanism for building the political consensus that was required in order to separate us from a tyrannical crown. When the British banned town meetings in 1774, upon an enactment of something we called the Intolerable Acts, it was taken as a direct assault on liberty by the residents and citizens of our community. In response, many towns barred their doors against the British soldiers to continue meeting without sanction in an illegal basis. Those meetings acted as they do today, a place where neighbors deliberate until we reach a common will. Back in 1776, nearly 60 Massachusetts towns debated the notion of independence. The process of town meeting deliberations translated local grievances into a unified philosophy of natural rights. These natural rights formed and informed the aspirations enumerated in the Declaration of Independence that we so revere today. It caused the spark of a revolution in 1775 to become the full conflagration of the American Revolution in 1776. Our town played a critically documented role in the crusade toward American independence. Like many Massachusetts towns, our community didn't just wait for the Continental Congress to act. It held an unsanctioned, illegal town meeting to provide their representatives with a mandate for a revolution. On June 12, 1776, the inhabitants of our town met to determine should the Second Continental Congress declare the colonies independent, whether the inhabitants would, quote, solemnly engage with their lives and fortunes to support them in the measure, unquote. What became known then as the Andover Resolve was adopted by that town meeting unanimously in the affirmative. That vote in 1776, was the legal imperative that gave John Adams, Sam Adams, John Hancock, each of whom, by the way, who served as town moderators at one moment in time during their public service career, and the Massachusetts delegation the authority and courage to sign the Declaration in Philadelphia. Without these local mandates, the delegates would not have had the consent of the governed to take up the radical step of revolution. You, each of you, should know and revel in the fact that our town meeting and others across the colony of Massachusetts were, in fact, the ghostwriters of the Declaration of Independence. For more than a century before the Revolution and the 250 years since, our citizens have maintained and strengthened our town meeting. Tonight, you occupy those seats as we carry on this amazing conduct of self-governance. Many of you know it is my convention to invite a deserving stitch of the fabric of our community to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm going to break with that tradition tonight and invite all of you, willing and able, to stand, so please do so, that you, all of our neighbors, thank you for standing, that you, all of our neighbors, can carry on that heritage where we commonly raised a medley of voices in unison in the pledge. I ask that we pay particular attention to the last 6 words, with justice and liberty for all. If I may, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. I note that the emergency exits are in all 4 corners of the room and also behind the stage. By show of your voting cards with your band in hand, how many have been to town meeting in the past? An overwhelming amount of you. Thank you. I'm very, very proud of that. In the interest of brevity, I will dispense with most of my introductions in terms of rules and review of conduct. They are printed on the first few pages of the warrant that you saw, beginning on page 5. I'm grateful to several people, the citizen advocates, Attorney John Fooey and Brian Hansen, who are available to assist citizens with town meeting problems, and they will act as assistant moderators should we need to open up any of the ancillary rooms. If you need assistance, just call out or seek out any of the tellers and we'll direct them to you. Continuing innovations of the past, we allow those observing the meeting live on TV or streaming on the internet to email and text questions into the meeting. If you wish to participate, if you're not live in the room, you may go to 978-216-3774 or the town's website to participate. And as you can see observed on the screen, that will occasionally crawl for those people who didn't have the temerity or interest to come out as you do. And I thank you each, applaud you for doing that. The citizen advocates monitoring our remote question initiative are new volunteers. They're in the back of the room at the mezzanine level, immediately in the center. They are Amanda Bates and M. Caldwell. They are new to this enterprise. Please join me in thanking them for that. They also act as our Lost and Found and Problem Resolution Center. I'm specifically grateful for the service of a longtime volunteer and founding monitor of this initiative, Heather McNeil, who's sitting by them, but this year is choosing to sit in the audience with her family. I thank her for her motivation and assistance in this new initiative that's now a decade old. Heather, thank you so much. Closed captioning is available to all in the auditorium or viewing us remotely for that matter. Please go to the address displayed on the screen should you wish to avail yourself of the service. We've boosted Wi-Fi in the room so you can do so on your own devices if you wish. We also have assisted hearing devices that can be accessed by asking any one of the tellers. You should know that I have sworn an affidavit that I have no conflict on the matters before us this evening, have not advocated a public position on any of the articles, and will perform my duties fairly and impartially. I will continue my practice to vote only to make or break a tie. We come together in good faith to make judgments for our entire community. Sitting here, each of you have been transformed from citizens to legislators. We leave, I pray, cynicism and bad faith behind, knowing the magnitude of our collective efforts. Here at town meeting, we address matters of public policy, programs, and projects, not people. Caring for each other is of far greater importance than any differences we may have in the moment. Our business tonight is rather less epical than declaring revolution 250 years ago. But what we do tonight will have consequence for generations, and I ask you to appreciate that. Thank you in advance for choosing to respectfully participate in local deliberative democracy. I now recognize the chair of the Select Board, Janice Phillips.
Mr. Moderator, Janice Phillips, 355 Osgood Street, North Andover, Chair of the Select Board. I move that this meeting dispense with the reading of the warrant and with the reading of the constable's return of service of that warrant. I further move that the moderator not be required to read articles of the warrant verbatim, but be allowed to refer to articles by number and by subject matter, and further that any motion or amendments need not be read, but are to be voted upon as shown, published, or otherwise provided in print or on the screen to the voters in attendance.
That is known traditionally as our startup motion. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none and seeing none, all those in favor, please raise your green card with your banded hand. You may put them down. Those opposed, I declare it a unanimous vote. We will deal with Articles 1, 2, 3, and 4, and several other groups later by unanimous consent. These are merely general housekeeping articles, as we've done commonly for many years now. Is there objection? I hear none. May I have a motion?
I move to adopt Articles 1, 2, 3, and 4 as printed in the warrant and displayed on the screen.
The motion is made
Second.
and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please raise. Thank you. Those opposed, I declare it a unanimous vote. Similarly, we have consent items that we've grouped by other categories. Articles 6, 13, 15, and 16. They are just housekeeping articles. Is there objection to taking them as consent items? Hearing none, may I have a motion?
Mr. Moderator, I move to adopt Articles 6, 13, 15, and 16 as printed in the warrant and displayed on the screen.
The motion is made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please raise your green card. You may put them down. All those opposed, I declare it a unanimous vote as well. We have one other small group of similar consent items, Articles 17, 19, and 20. Do I have objection? None. May I hear a motion, please?
I move to adopt Articles 17, 19, and 20 as printed in the warrant and displayed on the screen.
The motion is made and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor, please raise. You may put them down. Thank you. Those opposed, I declare it too a unanimous vote. Thank you. We've started with a good dispatch today. We've just dispensed 11 of our 27 articles, a full 40% of business. We're going to move to Article 5. I understand it will be withdrawn, but I need a motion first. Do I have a motion?
I move to take no action.
There's a motion to take no action. Is there a second? The motion is made and seconded. Could we have a 10-second reason why we're withdrawing the article?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Melissa Rodriguez, Town Manager. We have no unpaid bills for this prior year.
It's nice to be popular and get a hand. The motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, please raise. You may put your cards down. All those opposed, raise your card. We see none. I declare it a unanimous vote. Thank you very much. Now let's pray that all of the rest of the articles are that simple as we've just dealt with. We move to Article 14. May I first hear a motion on Article 14? Yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead, take your time.
I move to raise and appropriate
No,
transfer.
all we need to do,
Sorry.
all you need to say is move
Oh.
as displayed on the
Okay.
screen and published.
I move Article 14 as displayed on the screen and written in the warrant.
Thank you. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
The motion is made and seconded. It's my understanding that we have a presentation. At the conclusion of that presentation, we'll ask the recommendation of several boards who have considered it and then move to conversation from the floor if in fact there is any. And if I might ask that we put 10 minutes on the clock, we're going to have the pleasure of listening to our town manager and our superintendent of schools.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. It's our pleasure to present the fiscal year 27 budget. I'm realizing I'm the first for the presentation. Let's make sure this works. There we go. Okay, this year's budget is made up of 4 types of revenues. The 3 major ones that we'll talk about today are property taxes, which is what's our personal property, our real estate property, and our commercial property taxes. Get closer. Okay. Our local receipts. Good? Okay. Oh, there we go. We don't want to reverb. Thank you. Our property taxes, which are estimated to grow by 5.38%. That includes Proposition 2.5, as well as new growth that came to the community for fiscal year 27. That's estimated to come. Our local receipts, which are things like building permits, excise tax, that is going to increase by 2.09%. And then our local aid, which we level fund annually per our policies and procedures, because often the state's budget isn't settled until well after our budget begins from July 1st. This is a 4.5% increase from last fiscal year. This breaks down our revenue sources a little bit differently. Our residential makes up about 84% of the tax levy, and you can see that most of our budget is funded by the tax levy. This chart is just like the chart you saw in the budget book or within the warrant, basically breaking down the changes for fiscal year 26 to 27, and also showing you what we actually spent in fiscal year 25. This shows you a different breakdown of the budget, just how it basically flows out to all the different departments and cost centers. It shows the North Andover Public Schools at 51%. It's actually more like 64% when we look at the shared services as well as the employee benefits. And our salaries and personal services for the 2 budgets make up approximately 85% of the operating budget. This chart just gives you a historical idea of what these buckets have looked like. So you can see that most of them have been relatively stagnant over the years, not really showing any growth with the bars staying around the same size. A little bit more about the expenditures. We have about a 3.99% increase in municipal departments, approximately $1.1 million. The education budget is increasing by 4.38%. It's increasing by $3 million, with $94,000 being transferred over from shared services for software, and there's actually an additional $200,000 as well for curriculum. And then shared services, which is things like information technology, facilities, things that we do together, that's increasing by $180,000. So this year's budget, really the highlights here are that we have a 6% increase in employee benefits. It's difficult with fixed costs. Health insurance is increasing by $1.4 million, retirement by $350,000. This is the 5th year that we have funded the Finance Committee Reserve at $1.5 million. As you know, that is something that we go to when we have emergencies or things that we didn't know. So for instance, 2 years ago, we got a grant for a fire truck. We had to pay for a portion of it. We were able to go to the Finance Committee Reserve, or I think it was actually a fire pickup truck. We have a 3% COLA for employees. We have no new initiatives or employees in this budget, and we actually have 1 less full-time employee on the town side. And then my final slide is just showing the reserves that we are walking into town meeting with. If all of the articles at town meeting pass, we will have $4.2 million left in free cash. We're starting town meeting with $9.5 million. As you know, that is recertified at the beginning of every kind of fall, and it gets kind of put back into a bucket, recalculated, so that $4 million would be carried on until fiscal year 28's free cash. And the schools.
Thank you, Manager Rodriguez. As many of you may know, I'm Pam Lathrop, the Superintendent of North Andover Public Schools, and I'm a proud resident of North Andover. Tonight, I'm presenting the school department's fiscal year 2027 budget. Over the past 2 years, our district has been through a significant period of rebuilding and transition. Together, we have made difficult financial decisions, temporarily closed a school building, and strengthened the systems and structures needed for accurate financial planning, forecasting, and oversight. While that work has not always been easy, it has been necessary, and I am proud to say that this year we have remained on target financially throughout the entire fiscal year. We have developed stronger systems for monitoring expenditures, forecasting trends, and providing transparent financial reporting to the school committee, town manager, finance committee, and community. I want to acknowledge the tremendous work of our financial team led by Chief Financial Officer Gail Dowd. Gail, along with our district and town finance partners, has helped build processes that are thoughtful, transparent, collaborative, and sustainable. The FY27 budget before you tonight reflects careful planning, responsible stewardship, and a continued commitment to the students and families of North Andover. As we began developing the FY27 budget, the school committee established a set of directives that guided the work of the leadership team throughout this process. These directives help ensure the recommended budget remained aligned with both our educational priorities and our financial responsibilities as a district. These priorities helped ensure that this budget was not simply about balancing numbers, but about aligning financial decisions with the educational values and needs of our community. As you will see through these slides, our work focused on maintaining strong educational programming, supporting students and staff, protecting classroom experiences, continuing implementation of high-quality instructional materials, and ensuring responsible long-term financial planning. The directives also emphasize transparency, sustainability, and strategic decision-making, all areas that remain important as we strengthen our systems and move the district forward. The FY27 budget before you is fundamentally a level service budget. What that means is the budget allows us to maintain the current programs, services, staffing, and supports that our students and families rely on today. We can preserve all current services thanks to the town manager's recommended budget increase. This slide shows the overall breakdown of the school department's budget. Of the $72,294,000 budget, about $59.8 million or 83% supports salaries, approximately $12.5 million or 17% supports expenses. This breakdown is not unusual in education. We are fundamentally a people-centered organization. Schools operate through relationships, instruction, support services, and direct care for students. The largest investment we make is the people who work with children every day. Teachers, instructional assistants, counselors, nurses, custodians, administrators, cafeteria workers, and the many others who support students across the district. While expenses such as transportation, out-of-district placement, curriculum materials, utilities, and technologies are significant, the heart of education will always be the people serving the students. This slide provides a closer look at the many categories that make up our expense budget. Although the budget maintains current services, both the leadership team and the school committee recognize that the additional staffing and investments will continue to be needed. Like many districts across the Commonwealth, we continue to experience rising costs of transportation, specialized services, student support needs, technology, curriculum implementation, and operational expenses. We also remain committed to being thoughtful and strategic in how we use grants and entitlement funds from both the state and federal government. Those resources help us support important staffing, instructional initiatives, professional development, intervention services, student support that otherwise will put pressure on the operating budget. Our goal remains to balance fiscal responsibility with students' needs while planning carefully for the future. In closing, I'd like to thank the school committee, town manager, finance committee, and district leadership team and the town partners for their collaboration throughout this process. I also want to thank the residents of North Andover for your continued engagement and support of our schools and our community. Town meeting is one of the most meaningful traditions we have as a town. It gives us all the opportunity to come together, learn from one another, and help shape the future of North Andover through thoughtful discussion and informed voting. As both your superintendent and fellow North Andover resident, I appreciate the opportunity to stand before you tonight, and I look forward to voting alongside with you on the school budget and many other important decisions that will help guide our community forward. Thank you for your time and consideration this evening.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate you being on time. Marvelous. And we're going to put 3 minutes on the clock, and we're going to hear from the chair of our Finance Committee, Regina Keene. Regina?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Good evening. My name is Regina Keene, Chair of the Town of North Andover Finance Committee. For those of you who may not be familiar, the role of the Finance Committee is to review and assess the financial condition of the town, to raise a flag when we foresee any cause for concern, and to make recommendations on financial articles brought before you, the citizens of North Andover, to help you make the most informed decisions regarding our town's finances. I'll speak to the last point first. The proposed general fund operating budget, as you saw, is just north of $143 million, which is a 4.5% increase over last year, and the Finance Committee recommends favorable action on this budget. This budget remains in strict alignment with our finance reserve policies, protects our AAA bond rating, and is forward-looking in that we are purposefully leaving more than $3 million in tax levy capacity in order to absorb future debt payments for the Kittredge School rebuild, which will prevent a sudden tax shock to residents. That being said, we want to be transparent. North Andover is approaching financial challenges ahead. New growth is stagnating, evidenced by limited new projects in the permitting process, while at the same time, our non-departmental fixed costs, as you saw, are rising by nearly 6%, largely driven by health insurance and pensions, the impact of which can certainly not be underestimated. And we have contractual obligations for COLA wage increases. The school committee has indicated that the approximately $72 million allocated in this operating budget is not enough to cover the educational needs for the children of North Andover, and therefore the schools will be relying on additional grant funding and state reimbursements to bridge the gap. We appreciate the school department's transparency regarding this plan. However, we do not believe that it's a sustainable solution for the long term. Our municipal departments are funded at approximately $34.7 million, but in order to have a balanced budget this year, they have a reduced services budget. Across police, fire, and facilities, the town had to implement over $400,000 in cuts. We are very appreciative of the municipal department's one-town mindset and their willingness to do without or do more with less, but again, this is not sustainable for the long term if we want to maintain the level of services that we enjoy. So while we have successfully balanced the FY27 budget, and we appreciate everyone's efforts to do so, we must be prepared for a challenging FY28. If we continue to have stagnant new growth and continuously rising fixed costs, under the constraints of Proposition 2.5, it will likely be challenging to maintain level services next year. So I will close by reiterating we are very appreciative of the work done this season, and we recommend to approve the FY27 budget tonight, but we ask every citizen to stay engaged in active discussion as we move into FY28. Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you. Thank you. May I ask, is the fidelity of the sound good enough for everybody in the audience? Can we all hear clearly? We can. Thank you very much. At this time, I'm going to ask the recommendation of the Select Board on this matter
We recommend favorable action.
and the recommendation of the School Committee.
We recommend favorable action.
Thank you. And lastly, the recommendation of the Finance Committee.
We recommend favorable action.
We are ready to move to the floor. Should there be any questions which takes precedence or a commentary that might be necessary, you're welcome to come to the microphones. Does anybody wish to comment or ask a query? Seeing none, I think we're ready for a vote. All those in favor of the motion on Article 14, please raise your green card with your banded hand. You may put them down. All those opposed, please raise your card. I declare a near unanimous vote, technically called a supermajority. The article is passed. Thank you very much. We move now to Article 7. May I have a motion, please?
Oh, sorry, is that me?
Sorry.
My book is not in order.
It's all right.
I move Article 7 as printed in the warrant and displayed on the screen.
The motion is made. The motion is made and seconded. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. We're going to have a short 5-minute presentation from the town manager. Please, ma'am.
Absolutely. Thank you. I think he's bringing the slide up now. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about what a capital project is and how we define that. And so this is funding that we use that we have tangible assets or projects. So something you can hold, something you can touch, something you can use. And what we do is a 5-year plan that identifies all of our capital items as well as ideas on how we're going to fund them. Tonight, what we're voting on is the fiscal year 27 capital plan. And in this item, only includes the items that are not being paid for with debt. And so you'll see 3, 4 articles later that talk about debt, but these are only the articles that do not include debt. For an item to be a capital item, it has to be $50,000 or more, and it has to have a useful lifespan of at least 5 years. This is our fiscal year 27 funding plan. Our total capital spending non-debt is $10.7 million, and our total capital spending with debt is $102 million. Let's give you a little bit of the breakdown on how we plan to pay for this year's plan. For free cash, as I mentioned, we started town meeting tonight with $9.2 million. We plan to spend $4.5 million of that on our capital improvement plan. As you know, our free cash is kind of like the savings account of the town, or sometimes I refer to it as our tax return money, right? And what we do with that is we pay for one-time things. So you might use your tax return money to buy windows. We use our tax return money, our free cash, to pay for our capital plan. Chapter 90 is the money that we get from the state for roads. That has hovered between the $800,000 to $850,000 for the last decade. Capital stabilization is an account that we created a few years ago. We've been funding with money that came from new growth from Amazon before the TIF went into effect. It's limited to capital spending only. It requires a majority vote. In this year, that is being used to pay to move the modulars from the Kittredge School to the Franklin School. We have $1 million within the tax levy, within the budget that we use for capital. What we've done the last few years is as debt has fallen off, rather than have that be moved over to operating expenses, we've held it so that we can continue to use the money we have been using for our assets to continue to use that for our assets. As I mentioned, we have a debt coming forward of $58 million. There's 4 separate articles, which we will talk about tonight, that will address that. We have an MSBA reimbursement, if we pass the Kittredge School tonight, of $30 million. We're using water retained earnings, which is like the free cash of the Water Enterprise Fund, at $1.6 million, water debt, which is $2.6 million, again, a separate article, and then our retained earnings for sewer, our savings account for the sewer, at $1.4 million. For those enterprise funds, they can only be used for the original purpose, so they have to be used for water projects or sewer projects. I know we can't read this. This is the list of items that were in the budget, in the warrant as well. Every year we have kind of routine items like sidewalks, public safety equipment, culverts, flooring at schools, line striping, curbing. We also have big projects like the one I just told you about moving the modulars at Kittredge to Franklin, or we're going to do the old gym at Kittredge, move to the town farm so that we can do storage for DPW and the fire department. And I'm happy to answer any questions about the capital plan. Thank you.
We'll get to that in a moment. By the way, I just want to make people aware that we're looking up here at the stage because what's being projected out there, we can see, so we're not rolling our eyes at what's going on. And so I just want you to be aware why we're looking up, asking for help from heaven, perhaps. Let's have recommendations from the Select Board first.
Select Board recommends favorable action.
Thank you. And the school committee
School committee recommends favorable action.
and our finance committee.
Finance committee recommends favorable action.
Thank you. Now we'll go to queries or comments from the floor. Do we have any? I feel like an auctioneer, last chance. No queries, no comments from the floor. I'm delighted. You'll not get the opportunity to answer questions then, Melissa. Thank you. We're ready to vote. All those in favor, please raise your green card. You may put them down. Thank you. All those opposed, please raise your card. I see an isolated single vote, so we have a near unanimous, again, declared supermajority vote. Thank you very much. We now move to Article 8. First, do we have a motion?
Mr. Moderator, I move to adopt Article 8 as printed in the warrant and shown on the screen.
Could you identify yourself, please?
Laura Bates, 26 Woodbridge Road.
And your role?
I am Chair of the Kittredge School Building Committee and I'm part of the Select Board.
Thank you very much. I hear a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion is made and seconded. We have 10 minutes or so, if we can put it on the clock, of presentations from the town manager and the superintendent and the chair of the school building committee. And the clock starts when the first person utters.
Good evening. I'm Laura Bates, a member of the Select Board and Chair of the Kittredge Elementary School Building Committee. It has been an honor to serve alongside this committee over the past 2 years as we develop the vision and plans for the Kittredge Elementary School. North Andover's elementary school infrastructure is aging, with 2 elementary schools built in 1960 and the current Kittredge School built in 1949. After multiple applications to the Massachusetts School Building Authority, Kittredge Elementary was identified by MSBA as a viable project, which makes sense given that it's our oldest school in the district. Our partnership with the MSBA makes this project financially possible with no impact to the taxpayers. The new school will be state-of-the-art, energy efficient, and fully ADA compliant, benefiting generations of students and families for years to come. An important part of the MSBA process is forming a committee to guide and manage the project. The committee includes individuals with experience in town government, the school district, the school committee, and the design and construction industries. Together, this group has worked collaboratively to ensure that this project meets the needs of our students, educators, and community. That committee is shown up on the screen.
Kittredge has been an important part of this community for more than 70 years. For generations of students and families, it was a place filled with memories, relationships, and learning. But while the people inside the building did incredible work every day, the reality is the building itself could no longer adequately support the needs of students and staff. Our current site is a result of incremental growth over decades. While the main building dates back to 1949, we've added modular units and a gymnasium over the years to keep up with needs. However, this piecemeal expansion has left our facility that struggles to function as a cohesive modern campus. This slide illustrates how the site is split between upper and lower play areas and a main entrance that struggles to serve the modern needs of our students and staff. When you walk through the current building, you quickly see how much staff has had to improvise over the years just to make things work. There is not enough space for the cafeteria, special education services, and student support services. Kittredge School lacked dedicated instructional spaces for art, music, and the library. Spaces that were never intended for instruction or student support ended up being used because there was simply nowhere else to go. This slide highlights 2 additional challenges that are especially important. Accessibility and infrastructure. The current building is not fully accessible. There is no elevator, and there are areas of the school that cannot easily be accessed by everyone. As a public school system, that matters deeply, Every student, staff member, and family member should be able to fully access their school community. The physical infrastructure of the building is failing. We are dealing with dated HVAC system that leads to significant energy waste. We have continued to maintain and repair systems that are well beyond their intended lifespan. At some point, continuing to patch an aging building stops being responsible stewardship. We have reached that point with Kittredge. The exterior of the school tells the same story as the interior. We are seeing deteriorating and inaccessible entries that no longer meet the standards. This deterioration we are seeing is not isolated to one area of the building. It impacts entrances, accessibility, infrastructure, and the overall building envelope. These are not small cosmetic issues. They affect daily operations, safety, accessibility, and the overall experience for students, staff, and family. We have reached a point where simple repairs are no longer a cost-effective solution for these systematic issues. Let's shift now to the future. The priority for the new Kittredge is to create a building that is not just a replacement, but an upgrade that supports 21st century learning. Our goal is to move past the limitations of the 1949 design and create a site and building that prioritize safety, accessibility, and modern educational needs. While the condition of the existing building is a major reason for this project, the new Kittredge School is really much more than about replacing an old building. It's about creating a school that supports how students learn today and how we want to serve our students in the future. The priorities that consistently emerged during the planning process, when we spent many times talking with educators and staff and families, were creating spaces that support strong teaching and learning, ensuring students receive the services and supports they need, designing flexible spaces for collaboration and small group instruction, providing opportunities for outdoor learning and play, creating a building that is sustainable, efficient, and built to last, and building a school that continues to be a source of pride for the North Andover community. At the heart of this project is the students. This is about creating a learning environment where children feel supported, included, inspired, and prepared for the future.
We might need an extra 30 seconds for our shuffling over here so we don't fall off the stage. It's getting a little tight. A little scary. All right, I'm going to talk a little bit about the schedule for the project, where we've been, and where we are going. If I find my slide. All right, so the first part of the project schedule update is to take us through the MSBA feasibility study process that the Kittredge School building just completed with the MSBA. And then we'll get into a little bit what this project schedule look ahead would be if the project is lucky enough to be approved tonight. So we started in Module 2, the feasibility study, which is when we formed our team through the school building committee using the MSBA process, selected our owner's project manager, as well as our architect and designer, who are both here tonight. From there, the project team went through Module 3, which was the feasibility study, in which the educational visioning for the project came about. It's when we really studied the building, we met with different user groups, we looked at the existing site, and we submitted to the MSBA and were approved to move into Module 4, which is schematic design. This is where we chose the design for the building. We did a survey that many of you did as well. We figured out what it would cost as an estimate to construct it, and we understood what the overall duration would be to do it. We are now in MSBA's Module 5, funding the project, and that is when we present this at town meeting to get approval to move forward with the design, contractor bidding, construction, and closeout. You'll remember that at last town meeting, no, 2 town meetings ago, we approved the funding for the schematic design. If approved tonight, we then would move into Module 6, which is detailed design, and then into Module 7, which is construction 2027 through 2029. Module 8 would be completing the project in September 2030, is September 2029-2030 school occupancy. It's exciting, and we would have to have contractor bidding beginning as early as summer 2027, and construction starting pretty soon after that. Like I said, the construction will take approximately 2 years. One thing that's nice about the way that we're bidding this project is that we actually will be able to do an early bidding process for our demo, which means that we would have better prices moving forward.
The proposed site plan addresses our current challenges by creating a safer, more organized campus. We are optimizing the layout to improve traffic flow, separate pedestrian paths from vehicle areas, and provide expansive modern play areas that take full advantage of the site's topography. The goal was not to create an oversized or flashy building. The goal was to design a school that feels warm, functional, student-centered, and reflective of the North Andover community. There was significant thought given to how students move throughout the building, how staff collaborate, and how support services can be delivered efficiently and inclusively. One of the things I appreciate most about this design is that it creates opportunities for both community and connection, while still maintaining spaces that feel age-appropriate and supportive for elementary students. This is not simply about replacing an old building, it's about creating an environment intentionally designed to support students academically, socially, emotionally for decades to come. This site plan gives a broader view of how the building is organized across the property and how the different spaces connect together. You can see the intentional separation of pedestrian, bus, and vehicle traffic, along with the placement of academic spaces, play areas, and community spaces throughout the site. The layout was designed to maximize safety, accessibility, functionality, and outdoor space while still maintaining a school environment that feels welcoming and connected to the surrounding neighborhood. On the next few slides, I will walk you through the actual floor plans and some of the educational spaces in greater detail. This slide shows the main level of the new Kittredge School. The building is approximately 58,000 square feet across 2 floors, and this main level is situated at the same grade as the parking area and playgrounds, creating easy access for students, staff, and families. This floor includes the administration offices, the library media center, the gymnasium, the cafetorium, a common stage area, 2 grade-level clusters, and dedicated special education spaces integrated directly into the academic wings.
Excuse me, Madam Superintendent, do you need another minute or?
We do.
Thank you.
We probably need maybe 3 more minutes. One of the things I'm most excited about in this design is how intentionally the educational spaces were planned. The classrooms are larger, flexible learning environments designed to support modern instruction and collaboration. They are built to support push-in services, small group instruction, and differentiated learning opportunities both inside and outside of the classroom. Each classroom includes breakout spaces with interior windows so teachers can continue to supervise students while providing smaller group support. There is built-in storage to reduce clutter and maximize instructional space, along with organizational systems designed specifically for lunch boxes, backpacks, and winter gear. And anyone familiar with elementary schools in New England can appreciate that. A major priority throughout this project was inclusive learning, and our current building support spaces are often makeshift or separated from the classroom environment. And this new design, dedicated special education spaces are intentionally integrated into each grade level cluster so students can receive support while remaining connected to their classroom community and peers. You will notice the cafeteria and the common stage area positioned directly adjacent to the outdoor courtyard space. This creates opportunities not only for school events and assemblies, but also for outdoor learning, community activities, and flexible use throughout the day. This slide shows the lower level of the building, which continues the same student-centered and inclusive design approach. The lower level includes additional grade-level clusters, dedicated special education spaces, the music room, the art room, and a dedicated STEM lab designed for hands-on, multi-day, project-based learning. One of the things we heard repeatedly throughout the visionary process was the importance of educating the whole child. This design reflects that philosophy. Unlike our current setup, where many spaces are shared, limited, or adapted over time, the new Kittredge provides dedicated homes for the programs and experiences that help students discover their interests and passions. The art and music space are designed specifically for the purposes with proper acoustics, storage, and instructional space. The STEM lab creates opportunities for collaboration, creative problem solving, and innovation. The Library Media Center, which you saw on the previous slide, is designed as a bright and flexible hub for independent reading, research, and collaborative learning. Throughout the building, there is also a strong emphasis on natural light and a 21st century educational design. Features like skylights and open common spaces help create an environment that feels welcoming, calm, and connected. Ultimately, every part of this design was developed with one goal in mind, creating a school environment that supports students academically, socially, emotionally, and creatively for years and generations to come.
So, Mr. Moderator, we have a little bit of a query.
Well,
Can we at least get to the money?
I think I think that the meeting would like to be informed, and we'll just borrow it from the time that you so efficiently used earlier.
Okay, so would you, do we have time to go through the beautiful renderings, or would you like us to?
Please,
Okay, and I'm going to think things back to.
we can shut off the timer. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The MSBA process required evaluation of several options, including renovating the existing building, renovating with an addition, or the construction of a new building. After reviewing all of the options, the building committee determined that a new building was the best solution. Closing the existing Kittredge building provided several benefits, including an improved site plan, fewer construction disruptions, reduced risk of unseen construction issues that could affect the existing building while it was occupied, lower construction and maintenance costs, and provides a safer, more educationally productive environment for students and staff during construction. The most important benefit to me is that we won't have children on an active construction site. This view that you see here shows the front entrance as you approach the building. The clean site allowed for parking to be consolidated on the left side, creating a buffer from neighboring homes and providing sufficient queuing space for drop-off and pickup to reduce traffic on Main Street. The sloping site and building design break the school into smaller architectural forms that fit within the residential neighborhood and create a welcoming environment for young students. As you approach the entrance, this is the covered walkway at the front entrance that protects students and staff during inclement weather. The administration wing is located on the right with the gym on the left. Brick and CMU block are traditional low-maintenance materials proposed for the exterior, with final colors and finishes to be selected during the next phase. The design reflects the character of other schools in town and the surrounding neighborhood. This view looks down the main corridor towards the classroom wing, with the gym and cafetorium on the left and the administration wing on the right. Durable wall materials and skylights provide a bright, welcoming space filled with natural light. In this rendering, you're entering the central hub of the building, where students and staff move between floors in a bright two-story space. Filled with natural light from the clear-story windows and ample wall space for student artwork, this area is designed to celebrate the story of Kittredge and North Andover for generations to come. And as you move downstairs, you enter a gathering space adjacent to the music, art, and STEM rooms. These dedicated, related art spaces support 21st century learning, whilst the STEM room provides students with opportunities to explore, innovate, and develop new ideas. The light from above floods the area, creating an inviting space to spur creativity. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about the budget. So we know the total project budget is $79.8 million. Our reimbursement rate from MSBA is 55.7%. That gets locked in when we do the project, and so we'll no longer have it fluctuate annually. It will be locked in for this project at the 55.7. We have ineligible costs and eligible costs, and what ineligible costs are for the MSBA are areas that exceed the space standards set by the MSBA, which is the Mass School Building Authority. Certain site costs, if they're over 8% of the total budget, project-related expenses like moving or legal fees, hazardous mitigation, there's soft cost limits, and there's also building costs and furniture costs that are capped. And so we have $27.4 million of ineligible costs and $52.4 million of eligible costs, which means that the MSBA share of this project would be 29.2, and the local share would be 50.6. So a little bit about how we're going to fund this. The project will be funded using debt, with the payment being paid from the levy capacity. No debt exclusion will be needed, and no increase to the levy beyond what we currently have available is required. I have not heard of another community that was able to do a school building without a debt exclusion. And the reason that we can do that is because we have been very carefully planning for this project as part of Facilities Master Plan 2 since 2018. We have preserved levy capacity brought on by the Amazon project. We've protected our debt expenditures as debt has expired to make certain that Facilities Master Plan 2 projects can be funded with the least possible impact. The bond will be for a period of 30 years and is estimated to have a 4% interest rate reflecting our AAA bond rating. This would be put the payment at approximately $3 million per year. And as you heard earlier, we have maintained that $3 million in levy capacity in order to pay the debt for these projects. Finally, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the MSBA competitive acceptance process. We have been submitting MSBA applications since at least 2017 annually. We started with the middle school. We continued to put the middle school in, and it continued to be rejected. We had a site visit with MSBA, and they told us to put our worst foot forward, which is what we did when we put Kittredge forward. When we came to the site visit that day, we actually had a student in a wheelchair who had to leave the building and to go to the nurse's office, and MSBA was there to see it. There was 118 statements of interest submitted in 2021. 17 were accepted. On average, 11% typically are. If we're accepted into the program and we fund that feasibility portion, MSBA sees that as a good faith effort towards doing the project, and they were very impressed with Facilities Master Plan 2. If the project is not approved at town meeting, the MSBA views that community as not ready, and we lose that chance for the reimbursement, but they also remember that as you move forward with future SOIs for projects. Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
You're very welcome. The Finance Committee generously cedes some of its time for your presentation and has asked for 90 seconds.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I will take only 90 seconds. I would just like to highlight from, we obviously assess the project from a financial standpoint, and I just want to reiterate 2 points that Town Manager Rodriguez made. Number one, and I made this in my comment about the operating budget, we are very fortunate that we were forward-looking to this project and have been reserving the tax levy capacity, and the fact that we could absorb this debt payment without having to go for a debt override and raise any resident taxes is very commendable and just amazing, really. So I just wanted to reiterate that point, and as well, the second point is regarding the MSBA reimbursement. For us to pass up the opportunity to have the state provide us nearly $30 million for this project would just be a mistake in our committee opinion. It's very difficult to get that approval. We've been working for it for a long time, and I would hate for us to pass that up.
I thank you. We'll go to recommendations, and we'll first ask, does the Select Board have a specific recommendation on this article?
The Select Board recommends favorable action.
And the School Committee?
The school committee recommends the most favorable of actions possible.
And the Finance Committee?
The Finance Committee recommends favorable action.
Thank you. We'll now go to the floor for any queries or commentary that anyone here assembled would like to make. Anybody choose to come forward? It appears we have at least one person. I ask you to state your name and address. Sir.
Stan Novak, 26 Pembroke Road,
Welcome.
built in 1949.
You have 2 minutes.
I have two questions. One probably should have been asked earlier when we were talking about the budget stuff. But if this does not require a 2.5 override, why are they anticipating a 2.5 override?
And your second question, sir?
Second question is this building going to be built just big enough to handle the load we have now? Or are we anticipating the growth from the new projects that are going to be built in town, like Zero Prospect and the MBTA construction? Because that's going to likely dump about 400 more students into our schools. And when those get built in 3 years, are we going to be right back in here saying we need another elementary school because we don't have enough capacity?
Let's see if we can get an answer to both of your queries. I'll ask for commentary on the first one about the 2.5 override.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. We're watching communities across the state struggling with Proposition 2.5 due to the continually rising fixed costs that we can't control and our ability to be able to continue to maintain our budget based on that. We have actually been relatively well insulated from this issue because we've had pretty significant new growth over the last couple of years, and other communities have had to struggle with this previously. We're just coming content to that point now because we're not seeing new growth moving forward. So until we see either some state legislation around Proposition 2.5 or some type of control over costs like health insurance and retirement, we're going to continue to have struggles. And we see that as an alarm when we're doing our fiscal forecast. Mr. Moderator, can I just speak quickly to the enrollment and then?
You may.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to point out that we actually applied to have this school be 450 students. MSBA goes through a very comprehensive process. They use a data-driven enrollment projection methodology, which modified grade-to-grade cohort survival. And they put the project down to 335 students, and saying that that would fit our needs moving forward as well.
And that's at least a partial answer to your second question. Does anyone else wish to comment on either the first question or the second question?
I mean, I will comment that we're saying a debt exclusion is not required because we have the capacity for the debt. In terms of an override, I'm not saying one way or the other that we would have an override or advocate for an override, but what I am saying is, to reiterate what the town manager just stated, we have rising fixed costs, we have COLA adjustments, and so on. So without continued new growth, that's going to be a challenge. And I feel we need to recognize that.
And
Excuse me, this is not a colloquy, and I have one more response for you from the chair of the school committee.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Joe Hicks, 49 Broad Street Road, chair of the school committee. The new Kittredge building is slated to have about capacity of 5 additional classrooms than the old Kittredge building, and will be able to hold about 100 to 120 additional students than once did. So it has more space.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
And
Excuse me, sir, we're done. If
Okay.
you have another query or commentary, you're welcome to go to the back of the line.
thank you.
Thank you. To the right here,
Michael List, 30 Leanne Drive.
welcome.
And I, at one point in 2021, was a member of a school capacity subcommittee that was set up by the school committee. I am speaking here, however, as an individual citizen. But as part of that discussion, we looked at the condition of the buildings. And as stated before, Kittredge is our worst foot forward. There are multiple buildings that are in need of significant renovation and repair, but this one was the worst. And just, I'm not going to reiterate the things that were already listed, but a couple other things that, at least as of 2021, that came to mind was that the building was built in 1949 and still maintains the same electrical wiring that it had in 1949. It also does not have a fire suppression system, and it is not ADA compliant. And so this is a list of things that cannot simply be fixed by a number of small repairs. And if we want to maintain any kind of reasonable capacity of the school for teaching our students, we really need a new building. So thank you all.
And thank you for the efficient use of time. Sir,
Hey, Douglas Yates, 84 Candlestick.
welcome.
Maybe it's a declaration, but I'd like to hope that we're going to be using energy efficient windows, ultrafiltration possibles in the event that we have another pandemic kind of situation, solar panels, high quality insulation, heat pump would be, these are the kind of things that are put in modern buildings to make them more futuristic. And
Well, let's ask that query of the chair of the school building committee.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. We're absolutely going to make a very efficient building. We approved to do geothermal. We're going to pursue geothermal for the heating and the cooling of the building. The roof will be solar ready. The windows will be triple pane. And I'm looking at the architect for reinforcement. And again, we will be going after all the energy credits that we can through the federal government and the state for reimbursement as well.
and a high quality, or the possibility of a high quality ventilation system.
Absolutely.
To go for fine particles.
Yep.
Thank you, sir. To the right,
Kevin Martin, 136 Old Farm Road.
welcome.
I have terrible allergies, so I agree the fine particles on the ventilation would be great. 2 comments. One, financial. I'm a local Merrimack Valley kid. I grew up in Methuen. I moved to Philly for 10 years, started a family, chose North Andover. I think everybody here has to realize that. You're saying student population is dropping. We're not seeing as many kids. We need people to choose North Andover if you want to receive the house values that have appreciated or nearly doubled in the past decade. If you have a single-family home that you're expecting a young family to buy, the first thing they're going to look at is the quality of the schools. Not just the scores, but the infrastructure. Your home values are tied to the schools. The second thing is for the community. We can do hard things. A few years ago, we had a controversial vote. Should we allow multi-story apartments to go where the old Knights of Columbus were? Should we allocate land for a new senior center? It was a lot of money. It was controversial if we should do this. If you've been in there, it was absolutely the right choice. The pride that anybody has when they walk into that senior center, we know investing in those residents was the right thing to do. It was a hard vote. Exceptions had to be made, but the investment was worthwhile because the old senior center is just like Kittredge. It needed to be replaced. So I'm hoping we'll invest in our youth like we invest in our seniors. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Bronwyn Boyle.
Come up closer to the microphone.
Bronwyn Boyle, 767 Great Pond Road. I just have a quick question.
Welcome.
Thank you. In the financial, they mentioned that the portion that was not being reimbursed by MSBA was part of that was because they exceeded the maximum building allowance. And I was wondering how much did they exceed it by and what was the maximum building allowance?
Let's see if we can get an answer to that. I suspect we'll give the manager a moment. In the meantime, while she's looking for something, I want to at least note a couple of things.
MSBA, sorry.
Are you ready?
Well,
I'll wait on my fill-ins then. Thank you.
So when you go through the MSBA process, they give you a certain square footage that you're allowed for classroom space and for a gymnasium, and every project has some ineligible square footage. And in our case, some of that is the breakout space outside the classrooms that was identified as from the teachers and from the staff that's important. There's a lunch breakout space, again, where kids can go with the guidance counselor during lunch. It's called Lunch Bunch, if anybody has kids in the elementary schools. And it's a social emotional learning benefit that we provide. And then there's also, I can't think. There's demo costs that, there's demo costs that are not included, and there's percentages that we've exceeded, but every project does that.
Our wonderful OPM is also here, and I hope will correct me if I'm incorrect, but we have several, it's so small, I could use like a monocular, monocle or something. We've got about, 3,000 square feet in core academic, 94 square feet in special education, very small, 137 square feet in dining and food service, 186 square feet in administration. It's really very small. And then, let's see right here, in non-program space, which was our biggest one, we have 6,000 square feet, and that, I believe, is entirely almost the maker space, correct? Yes. Oh, he's nodding at me. I got it right. There we go.
Bravo. Thank you very much.
How much does that turn out to be financially that they're not reimbursing because of those added costs, those added structures?
I believe it's approximately $2 million. Is that correct? The OPM's making...
You're referring to somebody on the floor, so
yes.
please
The
share.
OPM's waving at me. Could he come up? He's our owner's project manager, Phil Palumbo. We welcome him to the microphone to answer this question more eloquently.
So we have a tradition of allowing strangers, people who are not members of our community, to come if in fact they can inform the community, and invite the gentleman to please identify himself, his professional association to this project at this microphone.
Thank you. Phil Palumbo, Project Director with Collier's Project Leaders, and like they mentioned, we're the owner's project manager on the project. So in terms of ineligible costs for an MSBA-funded project, so they spoke a lot about eligibility of square footage, 100% accurate. We have around 3,252 ineligible square feet associated with our floor plan, very common. That equates to approximately $3.1 million of ineligible costs. And then there are, like they were mentioning, a cap on building costs and site work costs, and those ineligible equate to $20.4 million. So those are the kind of floor plan and construction-related ineligible costs. Again, very, very common. MSBA puts caps so their grant program can reach as many communities as possible, and they're not caught up with the current cost of construction, and we're escalating out to a bid time of summer 2027. So that's kind of why you see a 55% reimbursement rate nominally, but an actual reimbursement rate of right around 36%.
Thank you, and appreciate your stranger's advice. I think we're on this side.
Good evening. Sasha Weinrich, 19. Is it gonna go
Welcome.
down?
Pull it down. There it is.
Sasha Weinrich, 1915 Grapevine Road. Good evening. I'm speaking tonight on behalf of the board members of the North Andover Special Education Parent Advisory Council in support of Article 8 in the new Kittredge School. I want to speak through the lens of special education, accessibility, and inclusivity, because this project is about far more than replacing an old building. It is about creating a school where every child in North Andover has the opportunity to learn, participate, and belong. The current Kittredge building no longer meets the needs of many students. Special education and support services are often delivered in makeshift spaces, converted closets, repurposed rooms, and other areas never designed for instruction or therapeutic support. Students who need additional services deserve spaces intentionally designed to support their learning, dignity, and development. The new school directly addresses these shortcomings with properly designed spaces for special education, counseling, intervention services, and student support. Environment matters. Thoughtful design can reduce stress, improve focus, support sensory needs, and create more meaningful inclusion for students with diverse learning profiles and abilities. Just as importantly, the new Kittredge will provide a fully accessible building and playground that meets modern ADA standards. Accessibility is not an extra. It reflects our values as a community. Inclusive learning and play spaces allow children of all abilities to learn and grow together, building empathy, confidence, and community for every student. Supporting Article 8 is an investment in our children and in the kind of community we want to be, one that is accessible, inclusive, and prepared to serve all students for generations to come. I respectfully urge town meeting members to vote in favor of Article 8. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening. David DiGiamarino, 167 Haymeadow Road.
Well, welcome.
Thank you. There have been a couple of comments about investments tonight, and I just want to make sure that everyone heard this clearly, that I heard this clearly. The project that we're talking about requires no debt exclusion. There's no additional tax increase, and the debt payments fit within the levy capacity we already have as a town, meaning basically the new school gets built without residents asking residents for a single dollar more than we're already paying. So if I look at it from an investment perspective, we're making an investment that's within our current capacity. And Massachusetts, the state, is coming to us to say, hey, we'll pay $29 million of this project. If I'm ever investing $100 and someone's like, you know what, I'll cover $29 of that, I say yes every time. So that means this investment is cheaper now than it will be in the future. And that presentation made it clear to me something I had no idea about. 118 communities applied for the MSBA program. 17 got in. We're one of them. It's like we made the playoffs, y'all. Like, we're a sports town. Let's lean in. So from where I stand, if we vote no tonight, the state marks North Andover is not ready, and they remember that every time we submit a future application, which means that free money that we're getting is less likely to be received in the future. There's no additional taxes. And this is an opportunity that's not a surprise. It's part of our facility master's plan that we've waited years to get to. So, y'all, we didn't stumble into this opportunity. Sounds like we earned it, and we have one chance to say yes to it. And a no vote tonight doesn't preserve anything. It doesn't save money, doesn't buy time, doesn't protect taxpayers. It just puts us in the back of the line. So let's lean into the fact that we're in the playoffs and win. Thanks, y'all.
Elise Edson, 220 Osgood Street.
Welcome.
So I have a couple different perspectives on this. So I am a parent of a 4-year-old child that would be in the Kittredge district going to the new school if it's approved. But I also actually work in a school in Tewksbury that was rebuilt a few years ago using the same grant money. So I've kind of seen firsthand the impact that it has had on that community, how it's a better learning environment for students and staff. And it really has been a community space with some of the spaces in the school, like the new cafetorium and music room and some of those spaces that have been used for community events there. So I really do urge everyone to invest in the future generations of this community. And as someone else was saying, you know, having a good public school system and newer schools will attract more families into our town.
Thank you very much for your commentary.
Hi. Do I need to reintroduce myself?
Welcome back. It's quite all right.
Okay. First off, big thumbs up for going geothermal. Another question, though, how many new employees is this going to be? Is this going to be mostly people returning to the school, or is there going to be a lot of new hiring involved?
Fair query. Let's see if we can get an answer for you. I think it's going to be the back of the hall here.
Sorry. Pam Lathrop, Superintendent of Schools. It depends. It depends if we continue to operate 5 elementary schools or if we consider what our enrollment looks like and if there's an opportunity to take another school offline. If we were to take another school offline, that would mean moving some staff from current schools back to the Kittredge School. If we continue to operate 5 elementary schools, we would have to staff that school with teachers, administrators, secretaries, custodians.
Fair to characterize that as unknown but not anticipated? Okay, thank you. And it looks like we may have a final guest. Oh, not quite. That's quite all right. Come forward.
Okay. Bob Curtin, 28 Phillips Common.
Welcome.
Thank you. My question is, if I understood the presentation correctly, that the school was originally going to be designed for approximately 450 students, and based on the data back from the state and the approval, it would be somewhere in the 350, 60 number. So
335.
335. So that's a pretty significant drop. All right, and if we originally wanted a building for 450 students, and now we're having the building for approximately 25% less students, what happened to these students? I mean, do we believe the numbers going forward? And I think earlier the gentleman mentioned, you know, if we have growth in town, but it just seems like the town wanted to build something to accommodate future needs, but what they're building is really something that the state said, this is what we'll give you the money for, so take it or leave it. So my question is reconciling those numbers.
So let's get an answer for you relative to why the community sought that higher cap.
So when this process went forward, we had actually recently done 2 enrollment analyses as part of the Royal Crest project, which showed that in 2030, our enrollment would be between 4,900 and 5,100. Those numbers really looked at K through 12, and the methodology that the MSBA uses really focuses on grades 1 through 5 only, because we're only looking at a grade 1 through 5 school. And so the MSBA's math anticipates that in 2033, 2034, we'd have 1,570 students in grades 1 through 5, which does make sense based on what we've been seeing, as well as the 2 analyses that are available on our website. If Royal Crest still has a project page there. But based on what we know now, it does make sense. The original analysis for Wegman and TBA were done right at the tail end of COVID. And so the data is different now than it currently is.
So if I can follow up for the gentleman's prior question, you have confidence in the new numbers?
I do. It houses about 100 more students than it currently, 111 more students than we currently had in that school. And based on what we're seeing for enrollment as well as birth rates, we would be comfortable with that. I don't know if the superintendent has anything else to add, though, about enrollment.
No, similar. We feel comfortable with that. Our enrollment has dipped a little bit in the last few years. We feel comfortable with the building having an additional 100 students to be able to support the students we have now and in the future.
Thank you. I think we're getting close. Maybe we'll cut off the line unless people have objection. Please, sir.
Tim Picard, 447 Waverly Road.
Welcome.
The question I have is that I know Kittredge students in the past had worked over several years with spoons to unearth a rather large rock in the playground. And
I want to interrupt the gentleman. I have a young lady that lived with me for 18 years who handled one of those spoons, and I was going to ask the same question and break tradition. But I'm delighted. Please note that we did not conspire for you to ask this question. Please go forward.
I would just like to know, is that rock going to be preserved as a symbol for future students?
It is absolutely going to be preserved. I have mentioned it multiple times to Phil and Jeffrey that we need to make sure that that rock is preserved and repositioned on the new site.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Moderator, Pam Lathrop, Superintendent of Schools. Just to add to that, I've heard talk about the rock, which we have just heard tonight, that we'll absolutely preserve. My understanding is there's also a time capsule that we're in the process of unearthing, and there are a few trees that were planted specifically for students or members of our community that we're also going to preserve moving forward.
Perhaps our last query or comment, please.
I'm Maureen Crawford Hentz, 864 Chickering Road.
Welcome.
Hi,
Excuse me,
neighbors.
ma'am. You'll address the moderator?
Oh,
Thank you.
okay. Hi, neighbors.
They can see you on the television monitors.
I hear whispers around me and in the grocery store and at the high school and in the Quick Mart about how our enrollment is decreasing or how we don't need to replace Kittredge. But there are dripping sinks in all of our buildings. There is crippling infrastructure problems in all of our buildings. There are significant issues in all of our buildings. This is not about building solely for the future, but it is giving our kids a safe place now. We will have more spaces to put children if we fund this building now. And I would encourage us, it's not just paying it forward. My kids are done with Kittredge, but take my tax money all day long. We need this for the town.
I think we are ready for the question. All those in favor of the motion, please raise your green card with your banded hands. It requires a 2/3 vote. You may put them down. All those opposed, please raise your green card. I declare a 2/3 vote very clearly. I thank the 719 of you who've shown up tonight, and I appreciate you all checking in. But I am going to ask Paul Gefkin from Sandra Lane that we have his license, and it's available in the lobby. We are going to move to Article 9, and may I have a motion for Article 9?
Mr. Moderator, John Weir, 39 Brightwood Ave.
Welcome.
Thank you. I move that we move Article 9 as written, displayed on the screen and written in the warrant.
Thank you. Is there a second to that motion? I hear a second. We have an 8-minute presentation that's going to be provided by our chief and our deputy chief, Graham Rowe. And while we're waiting for them to come up, I'll just want to note a couple of fill-ins. There are several who are not sharing the stage tonight, and we note the service of now former Finance Committee members, Brianna Stenson and Dustin Silk. I thank them for their years of service. And we welcome new Finance Committee members, Jennifer Watson and Michelle Nadeau. Thank you very much. Equally so, I thank all the members who are serving in the little-known but entirely consequential role as members of the Finance Committee. Thank you. It is my privilege to have appointed you. Let's put 8 minutes on the clock for the chief and the deputy chief.
Good evening. I'm John Weir. I'm the fire chief. I've been with the North Andover Fire Department for 26 years now. North Andover Fire Department is seeking a $7.5 million bond authorization for the construction of a new Fire Station 3. The project funding for this is an anticipated bond of $7.5 million with a 30-year bond. Estimated annual payments will be $437,589. This will be completed with no additional tax levy from the residents. Like the previous article, this is going to be paid for through funding through the levy capacity from new growth from our large industrial user. A little bit about the project background. Facilities Master Plan 2 included a large planned extensive renovation of Station 2 in the old center with a $7 million budget. A 2024 needs assessment identified the following limitations to that plan. It didn't improve any emergency response times. It didn't meet the current needs of the department, and it doesn't provide for any future growth of the department. A third station was determined would better serve our growing community. We're seeing an increase in call volume. From 2015 to 2025, we saw our fire calls go up 44%. Now this includes structure fires, brush fires, motor vehicle accidents, emergency rescues, etc. And during that same time period, we saw our EMS calls go up almost 64%. We also know that a large area of the town falls outside the recommended response time. The National Fire Protection Association 1710 is a national standard for emergency response, and it says that we can get from the time the trucks leave our buildings, they should get to your emergency scene in 4 minutes or less 90% of the time. We're seeing a large area of the town, particularly the south-southeast corner of town, is well beyond that. We're also seeing an increase in demand of calls along the Route 114 corridor. Now, while our primary goal of Station 3 is to improve our emergency response times and emergency coverage for our community, this project would also address some of the other limitations of our current infrastructure. Right now, we have trucks left out in the elements. The picture on your left is the new brush truck we completed last year after we had 620 some odd acres burned. It sat outside in the snow all year. We have command cars stored outside, which, while it doesn't seem like a big deal, when you have to scrape windows before you can respond to a 911 call, is a limitation in our abilities. We currently have an engine and a foam trailer stored in a municipal garage at the airport, and they've asked us repeatedly when that's leaving. Politely, they've been allowing us, but. And we also have to store one of our rescue boats in a Connex box behind the station. So again, more efficient storage of our equipment will allow us quicker to respond to emergencies. So a little bit about the project location. In our search for suitable location, town-owned parcels of land were identified and considered by the department members with help of an outside consultant. Response models were generated and studied, and the Berry Street location was identified as a viable location for several reasons. The 114 corridor is one of our busiest sections of town for emergency calls. We're seeing over 18% of our calls along the 114 corridor in 2025. It would improve our emergency response times for a large portion of our community. And being fiscally responsible to the North Andover taxpayers, this is town-owned property already, saving us purchasing land. Now this precinct map shows our 8 voter precincts with our current response average travel time for our first arriving unit. This represents the average response times from 2023 to 25. We had 10,800 actual calls that we plotted. And then we averaged in each precinct the average response time in each one of those areas. The dark green areas are under 4 minutes. That's the NFPA standard. Light green is 4 to 5 minutes. Yellow is 5 to 6 minutes. And red is closer to 7 minutes or longer. And again, this is the average for the entire voter precinct. It should be noted, like Precinct 8, for example, had some calls that were over 12 minutes for us to get a first arriving unit on scene, just because of travel time. Now this is showing a precinct map. This is the proposed response average travel time for a first arriving unit with the Berry Street station. This was created with computer models, working with our consultant, that plotted the same 10,800 calls as if we had that station in place. Precincts 1 through 6 saw virtually no change. Precinct 7 saw almost a 45-second increase in time. And Precinct 8 saw well in exceed of 2 minutes, actually closer to 2.5 minutes quicker. Again, 45 seconds or 2 minutes doesn't sound too long until you're waiting for an ambulance to show up, or you have a fire starting in your kitchen and you're waiting to see if we're going to be able to stop it in that room. Now this is a front elevation of the proposed station that's been developed with our architectural team and our building committee. There's 5 garage bays, single deep, and a modest living quarters on the right-hand side. Some of the benefits of a Station 3 would, as we've said, would be improved response times, better positioning of apparatus and equipment. We'd like to note we're not requesting any additional staffing for this project, as you'll be voting on tonight, but moving existing units to better meet the needs of the community. It does, however, provide room for future growth. As the needs of the community increase and demands on our services grow, we'll have room in all 3 of our stations then to be able to adjust as the community needs us to. And again, it's being completed as proposed with a modest increase in budget from the planned renovation of Station 2 alone. So that brings us to Station 2. Working with our architectural team, we have developed 4 renovation phases to address some of the identified needs at that station in the old center. Because obviously with the new station, the demands on that station are much less, so we could greatly scale back what we were planning to do there. We've anticipated being able to complete phases 1 and 2 at this time, which are the most pressing issues, through funding we've already obtained through grants and donations. So we're looking for no additional money at this time for that station. So this 3-station plan that we're asking for support for would provide the North Andover Fire Department with the tools we need to meet the growing needs of our community. This would result in better response times, improved infrastructure for higher service demands, ability to change as the community grows, and hopefully to assist us in improving our ISO ratings, which could result in reduced infrastructure premiums for businesses and residents. Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Bravo. Thank you very much. We have recommendations to consider first from the Select Board.
Select Board recommends favorable action.
Thank you very much. And our Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends favorable action.
Okay. It's now up to you. Do we have queries or commentary? Please come down. I'd like to suggest that we budget 20 minutes or so for this discussion if we need it. And we'll start on the right. I apologize.
Good evening, sir. My name is Jeff Moon. I live at 141 Berry Street.
Welcome. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. Please, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, members of the community. I'm speaking tonight to oppose the installation of the proposed fire station on our street. While public safety is a priority, This specific location presents severe logistical risks and permanently damages our neighborhood. I urge everyone here tonight to reject this proposal based on several critical factors. First, between Ash and Berry, the street is barely wide enough for 2 vehicles to pass. Vehicles frequently must pull over to allow others to pass at several points, including in front of my house. Ask any school bus driver who navigates this stretch on a daily basis. A 50-foot fire truck cannot easily enter and exit a facility here. Furthermore, sending that massive vehicle down Berry Street to respond to calls on Salem Street and its side streets make even less sense. The baseline worsens during winter. This past winter brought several feet of snow, heavily narrowing our already tight roadways. With these already challenging conditions, forcing large fire trucks to navigate a street further restricted by massive snowbanks creates an extreme operational hazard and threatens neighborhood properties. Beyond logistics, this project represents an irreplaceable recreational loss by closing the Berry Street soccer field. Our town's recreation programs are already severely limited by the shortage of fields. Eliminating this space directly harms youth health. Furthermore, this facility forces severe residential encroachment right on top of single-family homes, exposing families to sirens, exhaust, and strobe lights at all hours. A fire station requires arterial road access and adequate buffers, not a cramped residential street. As much as I understand the need, this is not the right location, and the town should consider an alternate site. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Jump to the right, folks, please.
Mr. Moderator, could we just respond just to one small portion of that?
One moment. I'll allow, please.
Thank you. I just wanted to point out that we are not closing the fields on Berry Street. We're actually improving access to them. It's later in the community preservation grant application. And I believe that the chief has a plan for leaving the station that does avoid using Berry Street. Maybe he could explain that further.
If he wishes.
Sure, thank you. The gentleman is absolutely correct. From the area where we're talking about building the station, if you head towards Ash Street, it's a very windy, tight road. All our response plans, we're taking a left out of the station. In fact, the station's even set up with the ramp facing slightly out and then down towards Route 114. All our response models are all going out with very limited exception of some of the homes that would be right along that road. We would be going out onto 114 and not traveling up Berry Street at that area. Going out onto Berry Street where we are, there are no houses in front of it. All the vehicles will be facing away from houses as they travel away.
Thank you both. Sir, I apologize.
Stephen Rawat, 90 Bradford Street.
Welcome.
Thank you. I am not questioning the need for the fire station. I am questioning the cost. I didn't see anything presented to substantiate the cost of building the building. I'm financial controller for a $100 million residential real estate company that also has a construction company. We've done a lot of construction. I'm familiar with construction costs. And $7.5 million for the picture presented to me seems way too low for that building. So I'd want to see some substantiation for the cost because I see substantial cost overruns.
Let's see if we can get you an answer relative to that, sir. And somebody raise your hand. Thank you.
Moderator?
Go ahead.
So early on in this, the town manager told us when we approached her after we were doing a needs analysis to see what, if the Station 2 project as it was proposed originally was going to possibly work for us. And like we said, there were multiple issues there. We wouldn't even be able to house our apparatus we have right now. So her marching orders to us was, if you want to build the station, you have to do it for $7.5 million. And we said, okay. She said, obviously, you got to find town-owned land. We said, okay. So we got working with our assessor, we got lists of all the town-owned properties after we had identified certain areas, and we looked for any place where we could find town land that possibly would have met the need responses. We started working with our consultants to try to see what would work. And then when we met with our potential architects, we actually told them flat out, I had a magazine, Fire magazine with a station design, and we said, if you build a station, It's not going to be on the cover of this magazine because we have a tight budget to keep. We have a full set of plans worked out, preliminary estimates, being very, very frugal with our costs, but still trying to make an aesthetically pleasing building that will meet our needs now and into the future. While it's going to be very, very tight, we're told we can stay within that budget, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you very much. And I think we're on the right here.
Hello, my name is Leah Moon. I live
I'm
on
sorry.
Yep.
I'm going to ask you to get much closer to the microphone and repeat that.
Yep. My name is Leah Moon. I live on 141 Berry Street.
Welcome.
So my worry is about the wetlands that are near Berry Street, as well as in Herald Park and behind my house. One of the endangered species that lives back there is the spotted salamander. And the noise pollution caused by not only the construction of the fire station, but the fire trucks themselves could cause those to become further extinct. They right now are endangered and very little changes can affect them. So it would be much harder for them to breed and continue their life there, as well as a lot of the birds that are there. The noise pollution also affects their mating calls and their ability to breed. Audubon Society claims that birds will have less offspring if there is more noise pollution in the area because they deem it a less safer place to live. As well as when the construction of the Berry Farm apartments were there, a lot of the wildlife started coming into the streets. So there is a worry that when that is constructed, that more animals will start coming into the streets as they kind of lose more of a safe place to live.
Thank you very much. Let's see if we can get an answer if any of those considerations were advised or reviewed.
Sure. I'm happy to answer that. Our conservation agent is also here, Amy Maxner. They did, in fact, find fairy shrimp, spotted salamander egg masses on site. However, we are building out of the 50-foot no disturb zone and the 70-foot no build zone. The project would have to go through conservation as well as planning. But at this time, we do not believe we will have any impact on either the fairy shrimp or the spotted salamander eggs.
Thank you very much. Let's go to the left here.
Carl Arsenault, 362 Berry Street.
Welcome.
Adjacent to the fire station. I'll try to go quick. I got 2 minutes, I guess. Been there for almost 30 years, and yeah, it's a very small street. Obviously, I don't want it, but even if it wasn't right next to me, I wouldn't be too crazy about it. I'm not too crazy about it because some of the, basically there's lies and there's money issue. The lies, we heard it here now even.
Excuse me, sir. Did you say the word lie?
Yeah.
Please, I'll ask you to be respectful to those people who are our neighbors, and you can characterize the difference of opinion in a different manner.
Okay.
Please go forward.
Some of the misinformation. How's that, sir?
Much better. Thank you. It's more respectful.
I'll work on that. Yeah, my people skills not too great.
You're doing great. Don't worry about it.
And they spoke about the road to the parking to the soccer fields out back, which is parking also for the Bay Circuit trails. It's not on the preliminary plan. The property's not that big. Where's the entrance? Where's it going? It's going to get done at the same time. It'd be ridiculous to do it later. So to me, misrepresentation, it's not going to get done. Soccer field's not used like it was a few years ago. The other one, I read this on the town site a couple months ago. When I went back a month or two ago, after that, it wasn't there, and it talks about staffing, no extra staffing. I wake up at 2 o'clock at night. I was like, it said in the middle of that elegant, lovely paragraph about no staffing at first. Because the old center fire station, they'll be working there because you're going to rehab that. Am I out in 8 seconds? 136.
I'll give you the courtesy of another 20 seconds because of my interruption.
136 million the town gets, guaranteed more the following year. 7.5 million. Let's talk about it in thousands. 136,000 a family makes. and you want to get something for $7,500, you're going to take out a 30-year loan? It's not $7.5 million, it's closer to $15 million. I don't make anywhere near that money. I would never take a 30-year loan for $7,000. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Do we have anyone who wishes to respond to anything the gentleman alleged?
So I wanted to just reiterate that the Berryfield vehicle and parking access is a part of Article 12. It is a separate design. The requested funds are $300,000. It constructs an access road and new parking facilities for the fields. It's conditional on the approval and construction of this fire station in the existing parking area off Berry Street. It also is going to require a conservation restriction to ensure future use of the site will be recreational or open space in perpetuity.
Okay, and we have the right.
Can I defer to the lady who has a handful over there?
You're more than welcome. That's very courteous of you. Welcome.
Thank you. Hello, I'm Eden O'Connell. I live at 345 Berry Street, directly across from the proposed entrance.
And I'm sorry, we're going to insist that you introduce the person you're holding as well.
This is Sophie O'Connell, who I do not want to be woken up by sirens.
Appreciate that. Go ahead.
So I am curious if there were any other locations proposed, what they were, why they were shut down. And I'd like to reiterate the fact that Berry Street is not, you hear that this is on 114. The entrance is on a very small residential rural street. You turn off of 114 and it is silent. That is why we purchased this property. And yeah, I'm very curious as to why this is the location that makes most sense. It doesn't seem to.
Let's try to address this. Anyone want to help Sophia's mom here?
Graham Rowe, Deputy Fire Chief, 11 Dana Street. We did look at a few other locations. What we did is we started looking at town-owned property. We also went back into past master facilities plans all the way back into 1972 and looked at locations that they recommended throughout the years. We looked at some out on Foster Farm. We looked out at Sharpeners Pond Road. We looked at Salem and Ingalls. We started narrowing down to be a little bit more self-conscious and to make sure that we were fiscally responsible to the taxpayers. We started looking at more town-owned land. Looking at Sharpeners Pond Road, we worked with our consultants. We worked with, conservation, and we came to the conclusion that working out at Sharpeners Pond Road, the property that's out there, we really didn't have a property site other than those other soccer fields, and it's already crowded with the DPW. They're running out of room out there. Then also with the fields out there, they wouldn't have a lot of room. The extensive wetlands that were on that side, the excavation, the site work, trying to get that up and running, it wouldn't have been cost effective. Looking at Berry Street, we did take into consideration that, residential and not taking a right, because we do realize going down that road, I've driven it a few times, it is tight and narrow. Even though Berry Street, with all of our high call volume along that route, Berry Street seemed to be the best location. It was less site work. Being able to exit out onto 114 and not take that right onto Berry Street, we looked at those and we realized that this is going to be the best response location to give us the best coverage and the best ability to be able to serve the community. Looking at some of the other ones, the call volume in those areas and the tight, narrow streets that we were going to put out there wasn't going to work either. But having the access to 114 gave us the ability to be able to respond and cover better.
Thank you. We've hit our 20-minute suggested timeline. I see people are interested. I'm going to ask the courtesy that we cut off the line as it stands right now and give everyone who's in line right now a 1-minute privilege in order to make comment or ask a query. Sir.
Hi, good evening. I'm Rich Conroy from 2192 Turnpike Street. And I'm kind of mad at Sophie's mom because she stole one of my questions, but I kind of want to ask a secondary question on that. When you say Sharpeners Pond Road, did you actually think about going into the entrance where the soccer fields and baseball fields and all that are? Or were you just looking at lots on Sharpeners Pond Road?
Sir, I'll ask you to direct all questions to me. That's quite all right. Are you done with your question?
Well, the other question I have
Go right ahead.
is there's no traffic light there at that intersection.
There doesn't seem to be any plan for a traffic light as we stand right now. If we did something on that Sear, I guess, property, when they come out to 114, it might chase the state into putting a traffic light there, which I think anybody that lives in that neighborhood knows that a light is needed at that intersection.
Okay,
Thank you.
let's see if we can get an answer to some of those questions. Sir, as briefly as you can.
Okay. So we did look at, initially when we were doing response, we did put the Sear Recycling Center as one of the things that we looked at. Then when we started actually looking at the lot, because there's so much wetlands when you go in, that there's limited parking in there already for the fields, and there was no room where we could have put anything in there. We were unable to go between there and the street as an option because there's just not enough depth because of the wetlands. There was one other lot that we looked on Sharpness Pond, closer to 114. But again, after the architectural team looked at it and did surveys and talked to conservation, addressing conservation issues, there was so much wetlands in there that it was going to be extensive restoration work to put anything there. As far as the traffic light, one of the benefits of pulling out onto Berry Street, right there onto 114, is we do have a clear line of sight each way. We recognize that down the road it would be nice to have a traffic light, but that's a Mass DOT issue because it is a state highway. So we know that they're very reluctant to give out permits for the lights. So that would have to be an issue that if needed, we'd have to address that down the road.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're very, very welcome.
Helen?
Again, we're cutting off the line at those people who are there now. 1 minute.
Helen Fuller, 5 Rosedale Avenue. I just have one quick clarification question for Chief Weir. What was the time in those red zones right now?
The red zone was 7 minutes.
Okay. So
That's average for all the calls we
that entire
actually
area.
did in that district, yes.
So I have been a nurse for 27 years, and I also teach community CPR in this community. I've taught a lot of people up here, taught a lot of people back here CPR. One of the things that we always say is that every second counts. So with every minute that access to the fire department, to their AEDs, to high-quality CPR, every minute, your chances of resuscitation go down 7 to 10%. That is very significant. When you're talking about you're downtown, you get somebody in your building or wherever you are in 3 minutes versus 7+ minutes, that is a very high chance of death.
4 seconds.
All right. I understand everybody's complaints. I think they're valid complaints. I personally think, though, that benefit is well worth it.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Eric Eidreiner, 571 Sharpness Pond Road. I'd like to voice my strong support for a yes vote for the third fire station in town. The detailed 47-page report makes a clear case for this, and to cite one highlight, Fire Station 2 was built in the 1970s, and since then the town population has doubled, largely in the area of proposed Station 3. Being near enough to a fire station isn't about convenience like being nearby to a grocery store or school or gym. It is about safety. Greater distance from a fire station can mean the difference between life-saving EMTs and emergency equipment arriving in time or not. Greater distance from a fire station can also mean the difference between a house and people in it being saved or a fire being kept from spreading to nearby homes or businesses. I think it's also worth noting from the town FAQs that it's expected that emergency vehicles will respond to 5 to 10 calls a shift, roughly 1 per hour. So enough to make a huge impact on public safety without meaning a constant stream of emergency vehicles. I hope we'll approve these funds to allow our fire department to effectively do what we all expect of them, to respond quickly to medical emergencies and fires throughout town,
Thank you,
regardless
sir.
of the part. Thank you.
Thank you. I ask those that are still in line who have not yet spoken that please only do so if you have a new query or something new to say. And I'm going to go to those who have not spoken yet, and then I'll come back to you, sir, okay? Please.
Thank you. My name is John Waters. I live at 2125 Turnpike Street, North Andover, very close to the facility.
Welcome.
I'm going to take a little bit different tact. First, I'll say is I disagree with this article, and I think we should vote no because I think we should defer it 1 year, simply 1 year. I think everybody said very good things. The response time was a fantastic statement. If you live in out country, imagine the benefit you would have if that was located at Foster Farm as compared to Berry Street. Anybody who's driven between the athletic fields understands out country would massively benefit for a greater response time and a better located station. I'm simply saying that there's been no public outreach until the website that a few residents heard here. Every other major capital improvement program we've done in this community, from the town hall to the police station to all the school buildings, have had a public outreach. I was told at the select board meeting that the town is not going to do public outreach for this project because the residents do not use the facility. I think the taxpayers should pay for this, and they should see the benefits of where it's located. So I simply say no this year, most definitely yes next year, after the residents have a chance to understand all these questions and not get it rushed through in town meeting and a simple website. Thank you for your time. Please vote no.
Thank you very much. Please, ma'am,
Mr. Moderator, could I just clarify the statement?
quickly.
Thank you. The statement was that we would not form a building committee to oversee the building of the project and the design of the project, not that we would not do any resident outreach.
Thank you for the clarification. Ma'am?
Carolyn Kilcourse, 37 Hamilton Road, North Andover.
Welcome.
The building, thank you. The building is nice. I object to the location. We were out at Sharpness Pond this morning. We came out to 114, and we took the mileage from that spot over to where Berry Street is, where we turned, went in, and saw the site location. It's just too small. I feel sorry for the Berry Street people. I agree with them. And the mileage was only about 0.5. It's way too close to the Middleton line, and I think it should be moved in. I agree with the previous gentleman. Table this for 1 year. Keep the design so we don't have to go through all of that. And maybe this town should think about spending a little money to get a perfect spot for this to really suit more of the town in a better frame. We lost out on Campion Hall many years ago because this town would not vote to pay $500,000 to secure that entire property.
I ask you to finish your sentence.
Mistake. Let's not make the mistake again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Heidi Waters, 2125 Turnpike Street.
Welcome.
Thank you. I live across from the proposed land where they want to build Fire Station 3. Nobody informed us this was considered location for it. We did not know until we read the Finance Committee's meeting agenda and then on the select boards. It wasn't until May 4 that we received a letter from the fire chief about it. The fact that this location was looked into over a year ago and yet nobody informed the neighboring landowners is very upsetting to me and others that live around me. What's worse is that nobody knew, nobody that I know has received that fire chief's letter as well, including those living on Palomino and Berry Street, which is the street they want to build it on. Now, I grew up directly across from a fire station, so that is not what bothers me. I'm concerned about the fact that the fire engines can't drive down Berry, Ash, and Campbell to get to Salem Street. One reason they're saying it's a great location is related to where the hydrants are lacking. They're all up and down 114, so that doesn't make sense to me. Where the markers are on the map, if I'm reading the map correctly, it's where the state forest is. And very few fires happen in the state forest. When they do, Andover, Boxford, Middleton, et cetera, pitch in with their water trucks.
I'm going to ask that you finish your sentence and we'll move on. Go ahead.
Okay. In the end, the most important thing is that a fire station should benefit the tax-paying residents of North Andover. This location does not provide any measurable benefit to the residents of Outcountry, i.e. Boxford Street, Forest Street areas. I'd like to know what benefits Berry Street's location has over Foster Field, which was approved for a school location. So it means it should work for a fire station's needs while keeping the existing soccer fields.
I think it's fair that we try to get an answer to that query. Thank you. Would anybody like to? Please.
Sure, Mr. Moderator. One of the sites we looked at initially was the Foster farmland because it's another windy road and because it is not off a major highway, like 114. The response models were just not even close. They didn't cover the 114 area. Our call volume out of the Foster Farm area out there is significantly less than we see along 114. Part of the thing about us not asking for more personnel, if we move trucks out there, they have to be able to move elsewhere in town. If we have a fire, we need a second truck to get there to tie in water. If we have an ambulance that's out on a call, we need to get the other ambulance to that location to cover other calls in that district. It's imperative that if we're going to do this with the same staffing that we have now, that we have a quick way to get as quick as possible from one side of town to the other. And 114 and 125 are our biggest roads that we have and allow us the easiest, safest travel between different districts.
Thank you.
Michael List, 30 Leon Drive. And I'm going to confess that I'm a little baffled that we're even having this as a debate, really. I live less than a quarter of a mile from Fire Station 2. I have 2 young boys. We moved into the house before my second boy was born. I cannot think of a single occasion in which they ever woke up because of lights and sirens. It just simply has not happened. My sister lived in Berry Farms until last summer, and I would have really loved for her family to have closer access to emergency care if they needed it. And so with that in mind, I would like to ask the fire chief, given that I've never been awoken by fire alarms or sirens, despite my close proximity, what is your policy in terms of running those at night when people are asleep?
Thank you, and I'll remind all to direct questions to the moderator, and I'll move forward from there. No worries.
Okay, Mr. Moderator. We obviously, whenever we respond to 911 calls, emergency calls, we always use our warning lights. Certainly after hours, if there's no need to run sirens, we're not driving through neighborhoods with sirens on. The purpose of a siren is to warn motor vehicles that we're pulling out or that we have to ask them to pull over. Obviously, part of the reason, part of the reasons you're not getting that in the middle of the night is because traffic is much, much less and the necessity is less. I'm sure if anyone was out on 114 at night, you would hear some sirens because we are traveling up and down that highway from Oak Ridge all the way back down past the nursing homes on a regular basis. And if you don't hear it at night, it's because of that.
Thank you. Our final 2 comments or
I'm just
questions.
going to follow up with what Mike said, pretty much. Kristen Doggett, 84 Johnson Street.
Welcome.
And if you know where 84 Johnson Street is, it's 2 houses up from the fire station across from Drummond. And I have a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old, and they have never been woken up by lights or sirens or anything. If anything, I actually consider it to be a great asset. We have taught our kids from day one, if there's an emergency, anything happens, you leave the house, cross over, bang on those doors. And so thankfully, we've never had to do that. But if you also know where Drummond is, you know that there's a lot of accidents right there at that corner where the fire station is. And it's been really nice to know that people who are hurt have immediate assistance. So I just want to reassure any families who are concerned that there's not going to be a problem. If anything, I see it as an asset.
Thank you. And our last, I'm sorry, sir, the line was cut off. This is going to be our last speaker.
Carl Arsenal, 362 Berry Street, regardless of me being on Berry Street. It's not a good location because you're limiting yourself.
Sir, I invite you to take a seat. Thank you very much. Sir, we're not interested in repetitive commentary. You have something new to say.
The location, you're limiting your 4-minute response times. You're not going to drive down Berry Street, hardly ever. You're going to get to 114, 95% of the time, you're going to take a right. Because on the left, you got 10 residences and then Middleton. And you got the big apartments there. But you're taking a right. You're not going to go across Berry Street because that's all woods, it's Harold Parker. You want to be a little centralized, right? 20-odd years ago, we tried this out in Foster Street where I think people, and we shot it down. At least out there, you're way out there and you can go every direction. It's a one-way street for a fire station. It makes no sense there. Obviously, money is no object here. Spend $1 million and buy a piece of property in the right location if that's what it is. Why spend all this money on a bad spot? Yeah, I'm there, I'm biased. But even without that, it's not a good spot. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So, sir, I invite you to sit down. If you choose not to do so, I will have you escorted from the room. Thank you very much for your cooperation. I think we're ready for a vote, everybody. This requires a 2/3 vote. I get to make that judgment visually. All those in favor of the motion, please raise your green card. You may put them down. Thank you. All those opposed, please raise your green card. You may put them down. It's clearly a 2/3 vote, I so declare. We will move on now to Article 10. Do I have a motion?
I move that the town vote to raise and appropriate, actually, that we accept the motion as written on,
Let's wait.
as written on the screen.
Let's wait a moment. As people choose to exit, I'm going to just note a couple other things. Number one, a former planning board member, Chris Koskouras, who is retired from the planning board. I want to thank him for his service, and I hope that you will appreciate that as well. I have especially special thanks to two former members of our town clerk team that have helped make town meeting run so efficiently during my entire tenure as your moderator. Congratulations on the retirement from town service of Suzanne Pellich as assistant town clerk, and equally deserving Patty Sifferlin for her service in the town clerk's office. Thank you. With that, them or they welcomed you this evening. Replacing them are Will McCarthy as assistant town clerk and Callie Tedisco as administrative assistant. Welcome, welcome. I'm going to add one more retirement entirely appropriate to where we're coming up, and that is Steve Foster, a native of our community. This is his last meeting as facilities director of our community, and I wish, as should you, to thank him for his service to our community. Article 10, do I hear a motion?
I move to adopt Article 10 as printed in the warrant and displayed on the screen.
The motion is made and seconded. Article 10 also requires a 2/3 vote. May we have a very quick explanation, sir?
Jim Stanford, Public Works Director.
Welcome.
I do have slides, but I'll forego that and just try to explain exactly what we're trying to do here.
Okay.
We're requesting $2 million in bonding, and this is to replace the existing fueling facility over at the DPW garage. Essentially, the fueling facility is used by all departments that have gasoline vehicles. The project will include replacement of the 2 pumps, installation of a canopy, new control system, and most importantly, removal of and replacement of the existing underground storage tanks, which are well beyond their useful life of 30 years.
Thank you, Mr. Stanford. Do we have any questions about the matter? Excuse me, before we go there, I apologize. I need to ask, my fault, the recommendation of the Select Board.
Select Board recommends favorable action.
And do we have a recommendation from the Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends favorable action.
Thank you. Now we'll go to any questions or comments from the floor.
Elizabeth Fitzsimons, 328 Forest Street. I have
Welcome.
a very quick question. I am in favor of this motion. I think it's great to be getting rid of the underground fuel tanks especially. I do note that while there is some additional new construction planned, that there is nothing up here that states anything about electric vehicles, charging stations. I understand that may not be in the town's public works fleet now, but certainly, hopefully, will be in the future, and I wonder why that wasn't included in this project.
I think we can get an answer to that question for you. Mr. Stanford?
We do have several vehicles that are electric, and the town has received grants over the years to install several charging stations around town.
Okay. Do we have any other queries? Any other commentary? Hearing none, this also requires a 2/3 vote. I think we'll move to the question. All those in favor of Article 10, please raise your green card. You can put them down. All those not in favor, please raise your green card. I declare a unanimous vote. Thank you very much, sir. We now move to Article 11. Do I have a motion?
I move to adopt Article 11 as displayed on the screen.
The motion is made and seconded. I appreciate that. This has to do with our water treatment plant. And may I ask an explanation from Mr. Stanford?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Essentially, this is to upgrade several portions of the facility, including the finished water pumps and the generator, as well as some control systems. The facility is over 30 years old as well, and these are critical components to supplying clean water throughout the town.
Thank you for the explanation. Do we have a recommendation from the Select Board?
Select Board recommends favorable action.
And a recommendation from our Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends favorable action.
Thank you. We're open for queries or comments. Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor, please raise your card. All those, you may put them down. All those opposed, raise your card. I declare, okay, thank you. I thought you were voting, that's all. Or assaulting me, I don't know which, John. It's all right. Won't be the first time. I declare it a unanimous vote. Thank you very much. So, John, you're more than welcome to come up now. Thank you. Now I know why he was lurking behind me. It's all right, no worries. We're moving on to Article 12, Community Preservation. While Mr. Simon gets to the microphone, I want to say again, most importantly, real appreciation to the police and fire departments of our community who are here to make this a safe town meeting, and your entire staff of officers, professional firefighters, and EMTs who serve and care for this community so very well. My appreciation. And while we're in the thanks biz, the entire custodial staff of the North Andover High School, most notably, go right ahead. Greg Landry, Assistant Superintendent, our new Director of Facilities, Nicole Smythe, a new Director of Custodial Services, Todd Workman, and Senior Custodian, Steve Langlois. Frankly, they put up a lot of demands from me, and they've truly helped make this a successful meeting, and they suffer me very, very well, and I am appreciative of them. Do I hear a motion on Article 12?
Yes, Mr. Moderator. My name is John Simons, Chair of the Community Preservation Committee, and I move to approve Article 12 as displayed on the screen.
The motion is made and seconded. Mr. Simons asks 5 minutes in presentation.
I think it should take less than that.
Well, we'll count on it then.
Can we?
But we'll put 5 on the clock.
Yeah, let's go. Can we go back to the top of it to slide 3? Okay. This is the list of projects that the CPA committee has recommended bringing forth to town meeting. We fund projects in 3 areas. Open space recreation is 1, historical preservation is 2, and affordable housing is the 3rd. The list of projects we have here, you see this is a big year for open space and recreation. The first 4 projects are recreation-related projects, and I make a specific point on the Berry Street one is that this ties in with the approval of the fire station where this recreates the parking that enables people to be able to go to the fields in the future. So that's the correlation there. All the other 3 projects, we work very closely with the school department and other town boards on those recreation projects. I want to briefly talk about the last two projects on open space because we're very excited about them. The first one, 0 Great Pond Road, is a parcel of land right on Great Pond Road, right on the lake, that the town has the opportunity to purchase for open space preservation because it's preserving our water supply. It also provides additional opportunities for recreation because it provides access to a spot of the lake that we've never been able to have before. So that's the Berry Street project. And then I'd like to talk about the Barker Street project, which I'm really incredibly excited about. I think many people are. We've had the good fortune to work with our partners at Essex County Greenbelt and with the goodwill of the Barker family to preserve a large part of Barker Farm. Barker Farm is probably the 3rd or 4th oldest running farm in the United States. It's been since the 1640s. So the opportunity to preserve this property is just extraordinary, and we're very blessed that we have the chance to do it. We're purchasing, in conjunction with Greenbelt and the town of Oxford, 34 acres in total, 6 in North Andover. The funding for the project is $500,000 from North Andover, $1 million from the town of Oxford, a private donation of $1 million, and a fundraising campaign of $500,000. And for that, we get the preservation of a wonderful farm. We have watershed protection because the wetlands drain right into the lake. We have walking trails, a benefit, and extraordinary viewscapes. So we're very excited about this project, and we thank our partners for working with us on that. That's basically it. Those are the big ones, and it was a good year, a lot of involvement from the community on it, and we're excited with this list of projects. Yep.
He deserves that. Let's ask for recommendations on Article 12 from the Select Board first.
Favorable action.
From the Planning Board, I guess you can, oh, no, we have the chair here.
Favorable action.
And from the Finance Committee.
Favorable action.
Okay, do we have any commentary or queries from the floor? Please.
George Leonard, 1000 Dale Street.
Welcome.
Well, I want to welcome all the newcomers. You know, families have been here less than 300 years. George Barker and I used to kid. He'd say, well, your family's newcomers. They haven't been here 400 years. Well, I just want to recommend that we adopt this article. We can't be losing any more farmland if we can help it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Leonard.
My name is Mark Bohr, 10 Heath Circle. Thank you. I'm very much in favor of the article overall. I just have a question. He hadn't said anything about the 2 smaller ones related to affordable housing and historic preservation. I'm very interested in what that is for.
Yeah.
Let's ask that question, and I'm sure Mr. Simons.
So there are 3 areas that we fund, open space and recreation, historical preservation, and affordable housing. And if we don't get specific project applications in a given year, what we do is we reserve 10% of the money we bring in as a reserve for each of those areas. So that's what we did this year for historical preservation and for affordable housing. A little bit different. The money that we've contributed there is we give it to the Affordable Housing Trust, which is another entity in North Andover that's set up to preserve or extend for affordable housing. The one advantage in why we partner with the Affordable Housing Trust is that they can move quickly between town meetings, because if there's a property that they wanted to buy, if you have to come to town meeting, you might have to wait 9 months. But with them, we give them a certain amount of money, they will invest in a project and then come back to us and explain it. So.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Marcia Finkelstein. I'm at 2104 Harvest Drive.
Welcome.
I am also a member of the CPC, and it's been a privilege this year to meet all of the projects that came to us. And I'm very excited about this list because it was a very thoughtful process. And my personal, you know, you're not supposed to like one particular kid, but I am really excited about the Barker project because I think there is a potential there because it has to be a farmer that's going to maintain it. But there's a possibility that we could create like a community farm. And so I like the idea of that for those like me that live in a condo complex and don't have property where I can, you know, have a community garden. And I think that's a good possibility for a project like this and maintaining the integrity of farmland. And so I'm very excited about all of these projects, and I wholeheartedly recommend that the town meeting vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Lee Burkett, 891 Great Pond Road.
Welcome.
Thank you. 0 Great Pond Road, I think I heard that it was on the lake. I just wanted to
Yes,
verify.
it literally is on the lake. The best way to describe it is if you're coming from Butcher Boy on 114 and you're coming right by Ray's Pond,
okay,
and you start up the hill there, it's right on the right.
Oh, okay, perfect. I was
right
thinking
there.
0
Yeah.
on the other side of the lake.
Right there.
Okay,
No,
perfect.
it's right there.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is M. Caldwell, and I'm speaking on behalf of Stuart Pesco from...
Welcome. M is one of our citizen advocates who is running the remote questions team. Apparently we have a query.
Yes. The question is, can the CPC please highlight the ADA compliance content of the open space and recreation projects, specifically Franklin, the high school, Gallagher, and Berry Street Fields? Thanks.
Thank you very much. Do we understand the query?
I'm not sure. I think what you're saying is what steps have been taken to provide ADA compliance. Is that the question?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
just talk about ADA compliance.
Okay. I think, let me give you one example, and I think it's fairly specific. One of the things that the Gallagher Field project is going to do is it's going to provide parking on that side of Dale Street where the fields are. Currently, the problem is it's just street parking and parking on the other side of the street. But now what they'll do is they'll be parking right there, so it becomes far more accessible and easy to get into the property than it was before. So I think that was a conscious part of that. The high school project is really for the fields. So it's dugouts, scoreboard, and bleachers. So it really is not directly germane. But everyone, and here's one it's actually really significant, I think, is that the Franklin School project, where we're moving some equipment from Kittredge to Franklin, is specifically being set up for individuals with disabilities. So it's actually the bulk of the money for that is done for that very specific purpose.
Thank you very much.
Keith Wenzel, 294 Chestnut Street.
Welcome.
Thank you. I just wanted a clarification. On the warrant, the Select Board, Finance Committee, and Planning Board all indicated favorable action on all of the items except for number 9 and the Finance Committee all favorable except 5 and 9. What changed with the vote?
Let's get a clarification for you. Let's start with the Select Board.
Sure. So they did not vote not in favor. They just hadn't taken a position yet when the warrant was printed because we didn't have full appraisals and understand the full aspects of all of those projects.
Okay.
And similarly?
Yes, same goes for the Finance Committee. We just did not vote on those two items.
Okay. Thank you.
It was the same at planning.
Okay. Thank you for the query.
Jim Colbert, Hickory Hill Road.
Welcome.
That gentleman took my question.
But we have another one, right?
We do.
Good, go for it.
Mr. Moderator, is there a possibility, again, based off the previous exceptions, that these are voted on line items, one by one, or I know I don't want to keep people here longer than possible.
There is not a need to do so. Okay. However, if a group of citizens wish to specifically accept any one of them, we can take that one up on an isolated basis. I don't hear a request to do so then. Okay, let's go here. Welcome.
Thank you. Just a question on the high school and the Franklin School projects. I'm just surprised they're not included under the school department since they're schools. And is it common practice to have the school facilities come under the capital?
Let's get an explanation.
Conservation.
I know an explanation will be readily afforded you. John?
What I would say is that some projects are funded through the school budget and some are funded through CPC, and we work very closely with the athletic department and other groups on how we divide that.
And I think a little more clarity can be afforded by our town manager as well.
Sure. So annually, we run a really comprehensive capital improvement program where all the department heads and cost centers, including the schools, come together to put forward projects, prioritize them, and better understand each other's projects. Part of that is what projects we are going to apply to CPC for. So it's really all one bucket. If you think about free cash that we appropriated earlier, if you think about the CPC funding, we plan together how to best use those funds in order to be able to have our priority projects.
Stephen Robotnik, 90 Bradford Street.
Welcome again.
Thank you. I just want to advocate for voting in favor of this motion. First off, the Berry Street is a no-brainer since the fire station has been approved. So to vote for that kind of is a no-brainer to me. I live on Bradford Street, right around the corner. Bradford Farm is essentially on Bradford Street too. And one of the reasons me and a lot of people here have moved to North Andover is because of the open space and the rural setting. And I have wondered for years, because I know the Barker family is a little hurting financially, what's going to happen to that property? Is it going to become condos? There's been so much housing that's been built around that area recently, and I kind of go, okay, more people for the schools, et cetera. So to salvage Great Pond Road and to salvage the Barker Farm, to me, is something that preserves the town of North Andover.
Thank you. I think we're ready for a vote. Are we ready? So this requires only a majority vote. All those in favor, please raise your green card with your banded hand. You may put them down, thank you. All those opposed, raise your green card. I declare a unanimous vote. Thank you very much. Thank you, John. Article 18. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to exit, I ask you to do so quietly. Article 18, I understand will be withdrawn. Do I hear a motion?
I move to take no action on Article 18.
A motion is made and seconded. Could we have a very brief explanation?
Sure, we insert this warrant article annually as a placeholder in case we cannot fund any overages for snow and ice from the operating budget. That is not the case in this instance, so we do not need the article.
So there was a motion to take no action. Do I hear any queries? I wouldn't suspect. All those in favor, please raise. You may put them down. All those opposed, raise your card. And I'll safely declare that a unanimous vote. Article 21. I need a motion.
I move to accept Article 21 as printed in the warrant and shown on the screen.
The motion is made. Do I hear a second?
Second.
The motion is made and seconded. I believe we have a brief explanation from the Superintendent Director. If you'll identify yourself, go to that microphone.
John Lavoie, Superintendent Director, Greater Lawrence Technical School.
Welcome back, sir.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for the community to allow me to speak. This particular item, Greater Lawrence Technical School is purchasing a second hangar for our aviation program. It's on leased land, so it has an impact on our charter. We need the town to approve us to lease land when it's outside 57 River Road. This project will have no impact on costs to the town, but it will allow us to expand our aviation program, which is in its first year.
Thank you very much, which already exists at the airport in North Andover.
It exists at the airport in North Andover.
Yes. Do we have any questions or commentary? Seeing none, I think we're ready for a vote. This requires a majority vote as well. All those in favor, please raise your card. You may put them down. All those opposed, raise your card. Sorry for the spin. I declare it a unanimous vote.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Article 22. Do I hear a motion?
I move to adopt Article 22 as printed in the warrant and displayed on the screen.
Is there a second?
Second.
The motion is made and seconded. Ladies and gentlemen, I made an error on the prior vote, so I'm going to correct the record with your permission. It's necessary for me to inquire the support or not recommendation of the Select Board and the Finance Committee, so we're going to do that on the record right now. So we're back to the prior article.
We recommend favorable action.
Thank you. And the Finance Committee?
We recommend favorable action.
Let's consider it now properly noted in the record. With your permission, I hear no objection. Thank you very much. So we have a motion made and seconded on acceptance of Mass General Law, Article 22. Is there a brief explanation?
Very brief. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Currently, the town has about 1,500 stale checks in its system. These are dispersed but uncashed checks which represent a debit liability on our books. They are checks that were issued to pay an employee or a vendor, a refund of a municipal tax or charge, or to pay a municipal obligation. This local option would allow us to go through a resolution process and take the funds back into the general fund. Currently, without accepting this local option, a resolution process would move forward, but those funds would actually go to the state if deemed abandoned.
I suspect that one of them is a check that I never cashed for doing this job. And I'd rather that it stay in town rather than go to this Commonwealth. But that's the only editorial opinion I'll give. Do we have any queries? Let's ask for a recommendation to the Select Board.
Select Board recommends favorable action.
And the Finance Committee?
Favorable action.
I think we're ready for a vote. All those in favor do the usual. You may put them down. All those opposed? Do I hear, is that opposed? Oh, it is not. Okay, thank you. I declare it a unanimous vote. Thank you very much. And yes, you can keep my check. It's all right. Article 23 is being withdrawn. It's being treated a little bit differently than the other articles in which we took no action because it was never posted as a warrant article, therefore it can properly be withdrawn. Article 24. Do I hear a motion for Article 24?
Yes, Mr. Moderator, Eitan Goldberg, 125 Sawmill Road, Chair of the Planning Board. I'd move to adopt Article 24 as printed in the warrant and displayed on the screen.
The screen. The motion is made. Do I hear a second? Okay, let's ask a brief explanation.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Moderator. Previously, we passed a bylaw regarding Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Section 3. As the town does for all bylaws, it was submitted to the Attorney General's office. They take time to review. And in the time period between when we passed it and when they reviewed it, they had made certain different interpretations of the law. So they sent us back a letter saying your bylaw is approved. However, you need to change X, Y, and Z. So we're making those housekeeping changes. Really, most of them are just clarifying language. And the only kind of more specific change is to say that if you have a non-conforming structure, we can't say that you cannot have an ADU, but if you make your structure more non-conforming, you have to go to the zoning board for a finding. And that was really all of the changes.
Thank you very much. We'll ask recommendations from various boards. The Select Board first.
Favorable action.
And can you speak for the Planning Board?
I can. The Planning Board recommended favorable action.
Okay. Do we have any questions from the membership? Hearing none, thanks for the pro forma explanation. All those in favor, please raise your card. You may put them down. All those opposed, raise your card. I declare it a unanimous vote. Mr. Goldberg, please remain where you are, and let's hear a motion for Article 25.
I would move to move Article 25 as printed in the warrant and displayed on the screen.
The motion is made and seconded. Thank you very much. A brief explanation, sir.
Even briefer, this is the same statute, and it basically just in our bylaw, the ADU bylaw was written into our limited site plan review, which is the same place we have our Dover amendment and the same place we have solar. So it just changes the language to correspond to what we just passed.
And I'll ask now for a recommendation from the Select Board.
Favorable action.
And the Planning Board.
Favorable action.
Okay. Do we have any queries or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your card. You may put them down. All those opposed, raise your card. I declare it a unanimous vote. We are going to citizen petitions at this moment in time, so those citizens who made petition, please come forward. We are going to discuss Article 26 and 27 together, but we will vote on them separately. So the first thing that we need is a motion under Article 26. When that's disposed with, after discussion of both articles, we'll move to Article 27 on a motion. May I hear a motion for Article 26, please?
My name is Carol Disney. I live at 92 Prescott Street. Mr. Moderator, I move Article 26 as printed in the warrant and displayed on the screen.
The motion is made. Do I hear a second? The motion is made and seconded. Welcome. The petitioners have spoken with me, and we've budgeted 4 minutes of presentation time for the petitioners. Please go forward.
Okay. Okay, go ahead and do the next slide. We live in a beautiful town with abundant conserved land, trails, and wildlife. Save North Andover Wildlife is dedicating to reducing the use of anticoagulant rodenticides, a type of rodent poison that sickens and kills wildlife and pets, and which poses a danger to children. I will refer to these poisons by an acronym, SGARS, for the remainder of this talk. Next slide. SCARs are found in the bait box as seen all over town outside of businesses and apartment complexes. We are here tonight to ask your support for 2 warrants. Article 26 is a home rule petition that would restrict SCAR use on private land, and Article 27 is a bylaw that would restrict SCAR use on public land. Our town currently does not use SCARs on public land, but if approved, the warrant would turn a practice into a law. So we're going to have a little demo here. This is how it works. The bait is placed in the box. A rodent is lured to the box by the smell of the bait, eats the bait, and then leaves the box. When it leaves the box, the rodent becomes poison on 4 legs. The rodent can live up to 10 days after eating the poison, and as it becomes increasingly weak, it is easy prey. Next slide. SCARs create a toxic food web as an unintended effect of SCARs is secondary poisoning to our wildlife, such as foxes, hawks, owls, and bald eagles. If a predator eats enough poisoned rats, they too will become sick and die. Wildlife rehabilitators describe these deaths as absolutely horrific, as the anticoagulants prevent blood clotting, leading to gruesome hemorrhaging. Next slide. Here you can see a barred owl, and barred owls live in North Andover, with a rodent in its bill. The next slide we're going to show is going to show deceased barred owls after being poisoned by SCARs. Next slide. Next slide. On the left, you see a healthy fox in Andover. Here's the same fox a year later, severely afflicted by mange, a byproduct of SCAR poisoning. We are not a pro-rodent group. We recognize that people do not want mice and rats in their homes and businesses, and neither do we. Next slide. There is ample evidence that there are cost-effective, viable alternatives as seen in other towns. Examples include Newton, which primarily relies on a birth control approach, and Lowell, who made the switch from SCARs prior to a citywide ordinance that banned them. As of this month, 52 cities and towns have already reduced SCAR use, and 34 home rule petitions have been filed or are expected to be this spring. Andover passed a similar home rule petition at their town meeting 2 weeks ago. Next slide. SCARs are contributing to the problem. They're not the solution. In fact, we are killing a nature-based solution for rodent control. This slide shows how many rats and mice predators can eat in their lifetime for free. Next slide. There are many successful ways of dealing with rodents without the use of SCARs, which is being demonstrated by several area pest control companies, and when used correctly, are cost comparative or less. We promote the use of an integrated pest management approach, which emphasizes exclusion, reducing food sources, and targeting without SCARs. Next slide. Our group conducted a bait box brigade in which we walked all over town and recorded the number of bait boxes we found. We found 683, which is an underrepresentation of the real number. We also found these and other problems in our travels. Open dumpsters, broken dumpsters.
Excuse me, do you need another minute?
What happened?
Do you need another minute?
Yes. 30 seconds.
I think we'll give it to you. Go
Thanks.
ahead.
Thank you, moderator. We also found
Either
these.
one works.
Okay, we found these and other problems in our travels: open dumpsters, broken dumpsters, trash behind stores, and numerous damaged bait boxes with exposed poison. Next slide. We respectfully ask you to vote yes for Articles 26 and 27. North Andover, we have a nesting pair of bald eagles on our reservoir. Let's make our town safer for pets, wildlife, and people. Next slide. So I'm done. So.
Thank you very much. We're now at the point where we're asking recommendations from appropriate boards. First, may I ask a recommendation of the Select Board?
Select Board recommends favorable action.
And I may now ask the recommendation of the Conservation Commission.
Albert Manzi, Chairman.
Conservation Commission. Our recommendation for Article 26 is not favorable.
Okay,
Our recommendation for Article 27.
we'll wait on that. Let's park that. We're doing one article at a time.
Okay.
And recommendation from the Conservation Commission?
That's me.
Oh, that's you, I'm sorry. Yeah, it is you.
Thank you.
A recommendation from the Board of Health, I apologize. Is there a Board of Health representative?
Craig DeCosta, Health Inspector, we recommended favorable action.
Thank you very much. Okay, so now we'll move to queries or commentary from the audience, and we'll start here.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Peter Boynton, 320 Stevens Street. I'm a member of the planning.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm a member of the planning board, but I'm asking this question as a resident. Is there, we've heard that escars can infiltrate the food chain with negative effects. Is there any evidence that escars can also enter a surface drinking water supply such as our lake?
Do we have anybody with the capacity to be able to answer that question? We'll ask the petitioner. Thank you for sharing the microphone.
I'll give it a go. Well, I guess the question is, does the poison from the bait boxes get into the waterway? And the answer is yes. Bait can be released from the bait box and into the environment through heavy storms when waterways flood. And as you can remember, we've had a lot of that in North Andover the last few years, heavy storms and floods. Anticoagulants can enter the aquatic food web as it bioaccumulates in aquatic species. Fish-eating birds and mammals may be exposed to harmful concentrations. You will recall the slide we showed you of the open bait box that showed the escars spilling out of the box, and that was not the only poison bait box we found. And that bait box was in the watershed.
Are we done?
Yeah, I guess that's good.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
May I do a quick follow-up, Mr.
Very
Moderator?
quickly, yes.
Would it be possible for our lake water treatment plant to comment on the potential severity of that getting into our surface water supply?
Let's see if somebody volunteers to answer that question. Mr. Stanford, I think I'll pick on you.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. We don't currently have a means of treating for that, so I think anything that adds a pesticide or any type of emergent contaminant, we would prefer not to have it in the lake. We do have a very clean source of lake, so.
Thank you. I will be honest and tell you that I think this is, it seems more interest than I had anticipated. If I might ask, considering the hour that we're at, that we limit questions or commentary to 1 minute and answers equally so. We'll start to the right.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Keith Connors, 4 Village Green Drive. It's actually just a really quick question. I was just wondering if the petitioners could speak to the evidence that exists regarding escars that are actually hurting animals.
Well, I could go on and on, but I won't. I think that's for the best. Scientific evidence regarding escars and wildlife is extensive and well established. There's decades of peer-reviewed research, technology studies, toxicology studies, wildlife rehabilitation records, and necropsy is an autopsy for an animal. Necropsy reports that have repeatedly documented widespread exposure, secondary poisoning, prolonged hemorrhaging, and mortality across the broad range of non-target animals. Our group has met with 3 different wildlife rehabilitators. We've talked to Newhouse Rescue, Cape Ann Wildlife, and Birdsea Wildlife, and they've told us stories. They receive hundreds of animals a year. It's hard to know how many animals are poisoned because think about it. You don't know it's poisoned unless you find it, and usually animals die in the woods. Then somebody has to take it to a wildlife treatment center or a vet, and then somebody has to pay for it to be necropsied. So most animals are never tested, and we don't know. But of the ones that are, and one last quick thing. Again, I could go on and on, but The most famous study that we've
Will
talked
not.
about a lot, I won't, is Tufts University tested red-tailed hawks in 2020. They had 43 hawks that were brought in for various reasons. 100% of them had rodenticide in their bodies. 100%.
Thank you. I think we have a representative group here, so I'm going to cut the line. Nobody else may join the line. We're here on the right, please. Oh, I apologize. Sir, welcome.
Stan Novak, 26 Pembroke Road. Before the meeting, I did a little research on this. According to both the Audubon Society and eTracker, or eBird Tracker, the population of red-tailed hawks, great horned owls, bald eagles, osprey, fox, coyote, all these wildlife that we are supposedly trying to protect, their numbers are at record highs. So there is no sort of epidemic caused by these. It might even be favoring them by making it easier sources of food. So this really seems like a solution in search of a problem. If you want to feel better about yourself, go ahead and vote for it. But if you think you're saving nature, it's really not going to make any difference. Thank you.
Thank you. Ma'am.
Anna Choi, 70 Maple Avenue.
Welcome.
Are the alternatives to the SGARs cost comparable? Do they basically cost the same?
10-second response, yes or no?
It depends. But our...
I asked for that.
Okay. Our own school system, we're using SGARs last year, and they switched to another pest control provider, and they've had better results with much less cost.
So we can get a specific answer for you from the school department, just reference.
I was just going to say the same thing. We've had very good results, and we are at less cost than we were last year when we were using SGARs.
Okay, there was an answer that I didn't expect. Please. Wrong again. On the right, I apologize. Sir.
I have a 2-minute, Zoltan Poloretsky, 46 Oxbow Circle. I have a 2-minute comment. I'll try and do it in 1 minute. And
Please do.
Tear it up. I'd like to counter the comments.
That's classic, and welcome to the pantheon of classic acts. At,
excellent, excellent. Give me 15 more seconds.
I won't, but that's okay.
I want to counter the statements that were made earlier. I did not study 5 minutes before coming up here. I've been birding for 20 years. I am an officer in the local birding club. The reasons that eagles and foxes and other animals have recovered is because of environmental action, which is exactly what we're trying to do here today. These animals, such as the bald eagle, were almost extirpated from our country, and that's now our national symbol. In short, though, I've read all the research. I have had personal experience finding these dead animals in the wild, in the forest, in our streets, in our neighborhood. I have personally experienced the situations where pest control salespeople come into my neighborhood, to my neighbors, sell them on the concept of deploying a subscription model. Who wants another subscription model that you pay every month? And the net result is all we're doing is creating little time bombs in our neighborhoods that are killing the very solution to the problem. Thank you for the time.
Thank you very much.
I will also do my best. Carla Carter, 23 Wright Ave.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. Also a member of Save North Andover Wildlife Group. I am in favor of both of these articles. When we had mice in our home, we used snap traps, sealed holes, secured trash, and used repellents. We chose not to use SGARs, and because of the harm that we knew they would cause, and the problem actually resolved quickly. Yet over the last 3 years, we have had to witness 8 dead and dying rabbits and rodents on our street and property, showing signs consistent with SGAR poisoning, including bleeding from the mouth. Additionally, our dog came in within inches of picking up one of these potentially poisoned rabbits on our property. It is an ugly and chilling thing to witness an animal die of rodenticide poisoning. And while we cannot prove every case with toxicology reports, the pattern is alarming. The number of dead animals, the widespread use of SGARs by pest control companies whose first go-to is to use these poisons, and of course the count of close to 700 bait boxes documented in our area. As Carol stated, they are contributing to the problem. We've done everything we can.
Ma'am, one sentence. Go ahead.
Yes, we've done everything we can on our own property, but the laws of physics and nature do not care about property lines. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Leah Moon, 141 Berry Street.
Welcome.
I'm just wondering if there is a way to prevent people from ordering SCARs online and if there will be consequences if any are found on property.
Fair question. Anybody have a way of answering that query?
Mr. Moderator.
Hard one. You're not allowed to buy SCARs as a private citizen. They're not supposed to be sold at stores, but you can buy them on Amazon. And there's weakness in e-commerce laws. So right now, no.
And the manager would like to comment?
Yeah, I was just going to add that the way the home rule petition works is that we ask the legislature at the state level to give us permission to draft a bylaw here in town banning them. So the bylaw would actually come back before all of us. It would include things like the penalties.
Steve Robotnik, 90 Bradford Street, third time's a charm. I wholly advocate support of this. About 12 years ago, we had a dog that died from rat poison ingestion. It may have been from my house. I know myself and some of my neighbors were using it. When we finally found out, we took our dog to Angel Memorial. Standing in the waiting room, he started bleeding from the nose, and we got the next day, they told us he wasn't going to make it. After seeing this, I would never use SCARs again. I wouldn't want a rat or a mouse or anything to go through what I saw my dog go through. There was also an article the other day about 3 eagles that died in Westwood from SCAR poisoning. We need to eliminate this from our area. We don't allow feces to go into our reservoir. Why would we allow something like SCAR to go into our reservoir? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, Eric Heidreiner, 571 Sharpness Pond Road.
Welcome.
Thank you. I really appreciate all the rationale, and this makes a ton of sense to me, and appreciate the whole presentation. And I'm just trying to square that with the Conservation Commission's recommendation to vote in opposition. So I'm hoping it's possible through you to hear from a representative about
Thank
that
you.
recommendation.
And we can inquire if the Conservation Commission wishes to comment.
Could we ask
One moment.
Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So the question is, why did we vote unfavorable action?
Correct.
What the discussion revealed was the 2 articles, one dealt with town-owned property and open space, and one dealt with all property, private property, professional applicators, licensed pesticide applicators. The whole bundle was included, which is Article 26. The opinions of the commissioners that voted unfavorable was that it was too far-reaching legislatively. And we felt that Article 27, which is the sister article, provides adequate protection. If the state wants to take it up with the licensed applicators and prohibit or regulate what they can apply, then that's what we would prefer to see happen. We didn't see any method for enforcement with this article. We didn't see any method of, simply put, enforcement. And as Ms. Disney pointed out, you can buy it on Amazon. So, and that's true, you can. This is a far-reaching question, and it's going to take more than, this is a good start, and I don't object, obviously. With the Wetland Protection Act, wildlife is one of the interests of the act. I've been on the commission since 1991. Obviously, I believe in that. But we choose to fight the battles that we can win. I don't have any doubt that this article will pass. I just sincerely doubt if it'll have any impact at our level. But that's the reason for the votes.
Thank you for your explainer. I think the audience appreciates it. Will I go to the next questioner? We'll go to the next questioner, please.
Hi, my name's Anya Glasgow. I live at 725 Boxford Street. I have a statement. There's a lot of creatures that I've seen around here, but one that's native that I have never seen is called the gray fox. The gray fox eats a lot of small mammals, including mice, and what's really cool about them is that it's one of two animals in the Canidae family that can scale trees and jump from branch to branch. They have retractable claws and they have very flexible wrists in order to climb trees. And I have never seen that, but one day I really want to, and one day hopefully one of you guys will see it. And what's it called? Saying yes to these acts will help me and other people see amazing animal feats such as this.
Thank you.
Yeah. Gray foxes are cool.
Hello, Heather Cradell, McGrath, 110 Laconia Circle. Thank you. I just want to thank North Andover Wildlife for bringing this to the forefront today. I'm a veterinarian. I practiced small animal emergency medicine for 5 years before specializing in pathology and laboratory medicine. And there's two things I wanted to highlight. One, the gentleman spoke about what he went through with his dog, and that is very real. I've been the treating veterinarian that has received those cases of pets that come in bleeding out from rodenticide toxicity. Some make it and some don't. It's intensive care. It's packed red blood cell and plasma transfusions. It's a lot of money. If we can protect our pets from being exposed to that, that's a huge benefit of this, not to mention the impacts on wildlife. The effects of these not only causing hemorrhage, but these toxins also, they inhibit the immune system. They obviously result in bleeding, and they also make these animals much more susceptible to trauma from recovery. So those will all inhibiting or stopping these toxins in our environment are going to help all of our wildlife.
Thank you very much. I think we're ready for a vote. It requires a majority vote. All those in favor, please raise, for Article 26, raise your card. You may put them down. All those opposed to Article 26, please raise your card. I declare a supermajority in favor. Thank you very much. We'll go to Article 27, our penultimate article, and we'll first need a motion under the article. Ms. Disney? Ms. Disney?
Mr. Moderator, I move Article 27 as printed on the warrant and displayed on the screen.
Thank you very much. Is there a second? I hear a second. I don't believe that there's a need. We need to ask recommendations. I'm sorry. Let's ask the Select Board first.
Favorable action.
And the Conservation Commission? Favorable action from the Conservation Commission for those who could not hear. And the Board of Health, please. Favorable action from the Board of Health as well. I think we're ready for a vote, as we discussed. All those in favor of Article 27, raise your green card. You may put them down. All opposed to Article 27, raise your card. And I declare that it's a near unanimous vote, so a supermajority technically. Thank you. Article 27 passes. Before we move to our last article, I want to give my particular thanks to the town clerk, her staff, the volunteer tellers who delightfully didn't need to exercise today, the town IT director, John Highland, North Andover Community Access Director, Brian Frazier and staff, our head teller, Jeff Coco, logistics coordinator, Pat Grimm, and the many dozens of others who have helped run this meeting. 1, 2 or 3 more sentences, folks. Shh. The very act of conducting this meeting is a fitting way to begin our 380th year as a community. Thank you for the respectful debate, the civility afforded each other, and the effort you have each made to contribute to our town. You and we have been a fine heritage to the meeting we celebrated 250 years ago. Thank you for keeping the spirit of revolution and independence alive. Be kind. May we hear the final article.
Mr. Moderator, I move that this 2026 annual town meeting be dissolved.
All those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, it is a unanimous vote. Thank you.